I need some clock over there.
Yep, we can begin right now.
This is a Mexican Crossing Lines with your host, Cindy Gomez-Schempp.
And Nemo Cicados.
And today we are going to be talking about the fleecing of the caravan, but also of all of you out there in America. And I believe some of the people in Mexico to a certain degree, although they're catching on faster in Mexico, thank goodness, that there is something very fishy and something very wrong with the foreigners, be they from France or be they from America, that are manipulating and exploiting these people in the caravan. And I've been showing you who those people are. I know who they are. So we will be talking about that tonight on my show. But first, I just wanted to acknowledge what is happening tonight. Do you like this new look? What do you think? Tell me about it. Because my co-host tonight, as you noticed, is Nemo. And of course, the rest of my crew is helping us tonight as well, you know, always with the moderating, and Duke's actually switching with Nemo tonight. And what we will be testing for the first time is this new overlay with our OBS that we're using here. And I think it looks pretty sharp.
Yeah, I had some good artistic critiques to improve it a lot, like readability. You can see all of our social media, like the Facebook at KPPP Radio, at the People's Press Project, at Mexican Online, and my mom's personal public page at Cindy Goes Schempp, and following us on Twitter for media_PPP, emailing her at cindy@kpppfm.com or duke@kpppfm.com. Or if you want to email me personally, you can email me at nemo@kpppfm.com. So
plus, it's got our message line.
Yep, the message line.
But as you can also see, we now have this. Oh, wait, it's this way. I have to point the other direction. Anyway.
It's all twisted around.
We have the chat window over to my left. And then we have this ability to see it on screen. So you can actually see the comments of other people, and I can see them, and we can talk about it like right here and now.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas usually I have to look at my script, so I can't look at the comments. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
That's changed. Everything has changed. Tell me what you think. It looks pretty snazzy, right? We can do so many other things you're going to love, or I hope at least you're going to love. Leave me your comments and let me know what you think.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I just want to give a shout out to those of you who've been sending me the flood of information that you guys have on the connections that some of you I have helped to make. New connections, you're like, oh, you're learning so much from what you already know. And you all are giving me like a wealth of information I did not have. I'm going to be sharing some of it with you tonight, having to do with these people that are manipulating the caravan, exploiting the caravan. So thank you very much for that. And also thank you for your support and for your donations. I would like to direct you to our QR codes in the bottom half, or the bottom part of our screen. For those of you who don't have that, there's a QR code if you want to scan it with your phone, if you want to donate, and there's one if you want to sponsor our programming. If you can't see this on social media, if you're watching this, if you're not watching this on YouTube or some other form of medium where you can view it, if you're listening to it on the radio, for example, here in the Fargo-Moorhead metro area, or if you're watching it on YouTube, you can still support our work, and we would definitely appreciate it if you would sponsor our programming by being an underwriter or donate by going to kpppfm.com. We are a non-commercial radio station, low power FM, and we are a run by a nonprofit, the People's Press Project, which is a 501c3, so you will get a tax deduction. You can write it off at the end of the year. It's a good way for you to support independent media. So let me kick off this show right away by telling you that we're going to focus on some of the lies, but it all has to do with money, taking people's money, pulling on their heartstrings, and then pulling the money out of their wallets. And some of the folks that have been watching my show have been pretty critical of the fact that I am, they call it attacking, I call it just reporting the news, some people or water protectors, or because a lot of them were at Standing Rock and they're like, oh, you're that woman that tears down all the water protectors. And
aren't you done beating a dead horse? I mean, what's going on? And they're just mad that you keep talking about it, but it's not, our fault that you are connected to everything from back then and before.
And that you keep doing bad things, and that you're doing bad things now. And, I already had all these other puzzle pieces before when I was first starting with the Kathleen Bennett case, and I started collecting all of this information, the names of all of these people, the organizations, the political groups that they were associated with, who ran them, where their funding came from. I thought my head was going to blow up. I didn't think I would be able to keep all of it straight, and sometimes it didn't make any sense. But now, 2 years and change later, it's like, oh, I already know who those people are. The picture keeps getting clearer and clearer. So if you have a hard time understanding what in the hell's going on down at the southern border, what's going on with all these protesters, what's happening with all these different campaigns, go back and watch my show. Go to kpppfm.com and check out all of the coverage that we did on Standing Rock. I highly recommend that you find out about the story of Kathleen Bennett, because that was the nexus of my journey to knowledge and insight. In fact, I'm writing a book about it. And I think that America needs to know. It needs to know what these groups are doing, who they're led by, what their goals are, and how they're interfering in American politics, in American campaigns, in American policy, and how they are exploiting and or astroturfing issues that, most people in America are polarized about or really, really care about, like immigration, right? And you deserve to know that there is a lie involved. There's a grift involved. There is a lack of sincerity to these folks. They say the right things, but they do the opposite in many cases. They don't do the right thing in most. And here's the other part, and this one is really important because this I learned through the Kathleen Bennett case. Not only did they not care about Indigenous people, Indigenous issues, murdered and missing Indigenous women, vulnerable people, etc., the caring for the natives of this land, of this particular area, like they said, because when it came to Kathleen Bennett and Mary Trujillo, they left those people to rot. They didn't care that one woman was facing 15 years in prison because they framed her, and they didn't care that her mother was in a hospital dying. And so I thought, oh, they just pretend to lead on these issues, but in reality, they don't care. And neither did all of their cohorts who were either involved in framing this woman and taking her mother away from her, or in covering it up, or in blowing it up in the media, even though it was a completely false story, or of keeping the rumors against Kathleen going and against this station so that no one would even try and help this innocent woman. The lengths that these folks are capable of going to in order to keep the cover, the veneer over themselves, so that you never really see what's behind the curtain. So you never really see what these people really do. Is incredible. And I have also reported that a lot of these folks are involving themselves very closely in the work that they do to rapists, child molesters, sexual harassers, frauds, thieves,
abusers,
people,
addicts.
Addicts, like the list goes on and on and on. And it doesn't make them distance themselves from any of their, peers or cohorts, or to stop promoting or uplifting these people. No, on the contrary, they rally together even more tightly, even more closely. They dig in their heels even further. And they don't care who ends up getting hurt along the way. Like when they decided to go and confront these Covington Catholic School kids simply because they were wearing MAGA hats and had smiles that they didn't like. Because, honestly, I can't understand other than the fact that they knew that people wearing MAGA hats triggers people and that they could get a rise just out of that alone. I can't understand why they targeted that group in particular. But the fact remains that they did put this whole charade on. It quickly fell apart in so many different ways, and they persisted, and they still persist in saying that this Native elder, Vietnam War veteran, blah, 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 blah. They know it's not true. It doesn't really matter. As long as they all stick together to the same lie, they hope that they can keep sailing through. Okay. So let's open some of these things up and talk about them. First of all, I told you that they had Hollywood actresses like Estefania Rebelon getting involved excuse me, with the Barretal shelter in Tijuana, with the promise that they were bringing donations and toys and all of this stuff to these kids. And she was raising money along with Jay Ponte and a whole bunch of other celebrities, musicians, influencers on social media to raise a certain amount of thousands of dollars in 48 hours or something like this, right? For this school they were going to build for the kids at the shelter that I told you was going to be closing very soon. And it has. That Estefania Rebelon. I want you to see what she posted in the last 24 hours. This has just been posted, this particular video. I want you to see for yourself the video she posted.
Hey everybody, we are here. This is live from Barretal Camp. We are bringing our Christmas celebration to the Barretal Camp. Here are mariachis. Thank you for all the donations. Thank you for all of your support. This organization was born out of the need of the camp, and we're just here supporting and bringing some holiday cheer. And I really, truly thank you all so much. I don't know if you can hear me. I'll do an updated video later. But we're just here really excited to be the fourth official organization here at the camp. Yes, we can. Si se puede. Anybody wants to check out our website is Yes We Can. That's World. Thank you so much. And I'm about to flip over the camera. We have the mariachi here. We teamed up with World Kitchen for the food. And we're going to be passing out some gifts. We have some piñatas. The party's going to go on. Thank you so much.
So let's talk a little bit about what we just saw. They said World Kitchen. So they said that they teamed up with, maybe they did. I don't know. Maybe World Kitchen was just there serving food. The Barretal had numerous celebrations for the children and around the Christmas season because they have posadas where they served, where they had piñatas and they served food and all of that. Okay. There were churches in the area that took the kids fiestas de posada. There were nonprofit organizations that did that. There's no telling how much of what we saw there other than maybe the mariachi she brought. Don't know. Obviously, this is also old video that she posted like in the last day. Today. In the last 24 hours. And then she says, by the way, I want to prove to you that this place is closed. This is from frontera.info. And it says right there, Frontera information, cierran albergue para migrantes del Barretal en Tijuana. It's closed. Check it. You can see they've cleared it. They've cleaned it. There's empty pallets sitting there without anything, no tents. It's done. It's over. So how do you explain this, Miss Rebelon? And she's posting about the fact that, and I'm thinking, damn, the audacity, right? That she raised money for a school for a place that was going to be closing, and now she's posting about a party that a thing that she claims to have been celebrating for these kids at the Barretal last year in conjunction with her raising money for the school, right? I also noticed that the Santa Claus, that was not the Doug McLean Santa Claus. That looked like the Santifa that I showed you before. That was with Evan Duke and those people, remember? And they all work together. So my bet is that that's definitely the Santifa. And also, do you notice how quickly these people can turn on the waterworks? And, I just want to remind you, a lot of these people are actors and entertainers. And what are actors other than people that are paid to lie? Like, that's their career, literally. They do. They pay them to lie. And they do it well, right? And they have a large following, so they can influence people in what they do and what they say. And, of course, they can make these choices to support something like this, even if it seems illogical, even if yours truly is telling you there's no way they can build a school in there because, one, it's going to be closed, and two, they're not going to let some American actress start a school in Mexico in a shelter that's supposed to be temporary. But no matter, people will still give tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes even millions. It's crazy. It's insane to me. And I also wanted to point out that when she posted this on Facebook, from Rebelon Facebook post, she actually says underneath this that, hold on just a minute here. Let me have it scroll. Maybe. We're going to try it one more time.
I'm going to try it one more time because I know I can touch it.
I know you can touch it too.
I can touch it.
Yay!
Can I touch it? Can I move you? There we
Can
go.
you?
This is what the Yes We Can Christmas Festival looked like inside the Barretal refugee camp, located in Tijuana, Mexico.
Thank you to everyone who has supported our efforts from day one, for your continued support. And as we get something or other,
Yep, ready to
bring you
welcome.
updates. Yeah, we'll welcome the new caravan.
Right.
And then what will they be doing? Well, they're going to be
We'll be posting updates on how you can help the children of the new caravan.
the children of the
Very
new
soon.
caravan are going to be the people that they are fleecing your money and using as the excuse. The children of the new caravan will be the pretext for you to pull your dollars out and give it to whatever harebrained scheme these folks have. What else does it tell you?
Thank you to all the partners who teamed up with the Yes We Can to bring some holiday cheer to the camp. World Central Kitchen thanks you for providing a delicious Christmas lunch. The Mexican government for working as a team with Yes We Can to pass out bags of toys donated by people to the children during the festival. To our donors for donating jackets, toys, sports, balls, clothes, shoes, backpacks, etc. And we can't wait to share what we have in store for the upcoming caravan.
Okay, so what they have in store for the upcoming caravan is a GoFundMe. The GoFundMe for the school tells you what they are up to. Yes, they're still collecting money for the school. Can you believe this nonsense? They're collecting money for the school. Here, let me show you their GoFundMe for this school. It's up to almost $17,000 out of the 25. And what are they going to do with the money now that the shelter is closed? Well, here is a, if you scroll down, you'll see. Wait, no, actually, you can, that you went to the next slide, honey.
Ah, sorry.
You need to go to
Back to this one.
and scroll down. Wait, actually,
Yeah, I think
if you go to Francis Fisher and make it tiny, it'll work.
Well,
Do it.
yep.
Because you know what?
Because I think you
It's
gave
going to
me...
show. It's going to show what I need it to show on this slide.
Okay.
And what it is.
Because on this particular slide, it... Am I moving it?
I don't know.
Maybe not.
Doesn't feel like it.
Things are moving around. I didn't want them to.
Hey, that's what this is for.
It is what it's for.
Yeah. We're testing out to see how well this works for us.
Mm-hmm.
I already have some
What?
critiques of things I do like and things I don't like. What do
Very
you guys think? Share your thoughts with us on the new test drive here of this format.
Okay. So, I finally got it to zoom out properly.
Okay, so it says, okay, update. Read that.
Most of you have already gotten a sneak peek, but we are now making it GoFundMe official and Internet official. We are excited to announce our School on Wheels program to provide education for the children of the migrant caravans. Every child has a right to education regardless of their location. La 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 la.
Okay. I got some questions for you. Make me big again for a minute.
Sure.
I have some questions for all of you. Do you believe now that you know she didn't ever intend to build a school inside the shelter that is closed, now that you know that and I've proven it to you, do you still believe that the Mexican government will allow a bus school that just randomly picks up kids that has the ability to drive around, like take the children? Do you really believe that the Mexican government is going to allow this actress to do that or someone else to do that? Do you think that they'll do that? I don't think so. I don't think that'll happen. Hopefully people will not keep putting their money into this. It seems like a crazy idea, but as you saw, Frances Fisher was one of the people that donated money to it, and she donated $300. A bus school in Mexico for children that have a heightened risk of being trafficked. You think this is a good idea? I think it's a terrible idea, especially with the people I've been showing you and some of their criminal backgrounds, because it should be of concern. Who are the people involved with Frances Fisher and Estefania Rebelon? Who are the people that they are working with down at the Texas border with Mission, Texas, where they have their camp? Who are they? What are their backgrounds? How are they getting all of the support with none of the transparency? How is nobody looking into their backgrounds and asking what they're involved with, what groups they're involved with, whether or not they have criminal pasts, etc.? Nobody cares. They're working with vulnerable populations. Suddenly, they're experts on immigration and law and on asylum seeking and on sponsoring families. Really? What gave them experience? Oh, they were sex workers. Oh, they were yoga instructors. Oh, they're like, wow. Okay. You guys are okay with that. Nobody has a problem sending them hundreds of thousands of dollars. Nobody cares? Okay. Well, I mean, in some ways, that makes all of us complicit because we're either apathetic, we don't care, or we're not doing anything. And personally, I'm not okay with that. I am not okay with that. I will share with you that Vanessa Dundon, Susie Desba, as she goes by, reached out to me to basically tell me that she's turning over my content to her tribal lawyers to check for, to see about suing me for defamation. And also, could I give her a shout out on my show? Hey, girl. And also, she wanted me to say her name, but I can't remember the name of the woman that she wanted me to say. And I don't recall you using it a lot in your live streams with Evan Duke down in Tijuana, because I don't think that you were looking all that hard, especially since you only stayed there a couple of days and then split. And you spent most of your time at the shelters, at the two different shelter locations, kicking it with Evan K. Duke III, and his cadre, Myron Dewey, Lolly B, all these other people. So, that it's irritating them a little bit, that folks are watching and that folks are paying attention to what y'all are up to, what you're involved with. And, all I'm going to say is y'all are real close to the border, and there's Border Patrol there, and there's Homeland Security there. Some of y'all have already spent some time with them. Myron, I know that he remembers that day with the 9 hours with Homeland Security. Doug McClain, Lilith Sinclair. Lolly's scared. She's scared. Every time she does her videos now, she's all jumpy.
Yeah, but you're just a Fargo Troll, though, huh? Is that all you are?
Well, I mean, Homeland Security is asking you about my reports, so maybe there's something to what I'm saying, perhaps. And since a lot of you are getting questioned, and a lot of you are giving yourselves great visibility right now, thanks, by the way, it helps. It helps ID you. It helps ID what your activities are. You should expect that Homeland Security and Border Patrol are going to be right there, checking you out. So, this School on Wheels thing that they're doing, here's a Facebook post that she put on for the School on Wheels. It has lots of different tags. The tags of all of the different actresses and actors. This one's called Rebelon Facebook Post on School Tags.
Yeah, let me just
That's right
find
there.
that right here.
And you can see right away, there's Jay Ponte, right? Can you pull it down just a wee bit so you can see Estefania's name at the top?
Yeah. Gonna put...
You're pushing it up.
Well,
You're scrolling.
Oh, yeah.
I said, yeah.
Ah,
Guess
there you
who's
go.
tagged? Who's tagged there? Susie Desba. That, hey, that's the woman that contacted me
What do you
to
know?
tell me that I might be defaming her
Maybe.
with my reporting
Maybe.
about how she's hanging out with all of these people and really, honestly doesn't have any business putting herself at the forefront of something that she doesn't have any experience in. And she told me, by the way, she mentioned in a run-on sentence that was like the size of 4 or 5 paragraphs that the reason she didn't talk to the Mexican authorities about the persons that she was searching for in Mexico is because they're corrupt. But also, they're probably the first line of defense when you're looking for missing people, especially in another country. But let's look at some of these names from the top, Nemo.
Sure thing.
We've got Michelle Eileen in there. We've got Frances Fisher, the actress, in there. We've got Jay Ponte, the, life coach, guru. He's good at raising a lot of money, right? Who else is in here that we recognize? Eventually, I'm probably going to get to know all of these folks, I'm assuming.
Eventually.
If you recognize any of them, Nemo, shout it out. We've got Brenda Gutierrez. Who is that? Why, that is Bertie Gutierrez. Bertie Gutierrez with Evan Duke, with Myron Dewey. Bridges of Love Across the Border, I think, is the name of her organization. It is unwieldy, that name. Maybe purposefully so. But I also want you to see who else this woman, Rebelon, is connected to very closely. I showed you pictures of them together. Madeline Kelly Merritt. Madeline Kelly Merritt is another actress, which I've shown you works with them at all these different campaigns, all these different rallies, at all of these different events. There they are together. Here she is. If you don't recall, this is a post from her Facebook page. I probably showed you before where she's promoting Madeline Kelly Merritt from the LA Divest group that I talked to you about. The founder and chief editor, and still uses this platform, Activate Now. That's Madeline Kelly Merritt. And here you see Estefania Rebelon promoting her. You can clearly see that's a picture of her. And she is running for some sort of office. She talks about how this woman worked on the divestment thing, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, she did. She also ran Activate Now. And might I remind you folks, how Madeline Kelly Merritt is who she's associated with at Activate Now. Let me make me big again so I can talk about this
Yes.
with the proper authority. I never thought I would say that to you. Make me big again. You know, one thing that I struggle with, I'm trying to read some of the comments and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Is the font a little bit too small?
Yeah.
That's understandable.
Can Mohammed security kick them out?
Let's see.
See, I can't. I didn't. That second word isn't Mohammed. Homeland Security. Aha! See, that's how tiny they are.
Yeah, can Homeland Security lock them up?
Lock them up. See, that chat box words need to be bigger.
I could do that.
Make it so. Wow, this is great. We get to do this in real time.
Yep.
I apologize. I am test driving this show with you guys today, but I really wanted to play with this new toy, and so did Nemo. So we're doing it.
Currently at 28. So let's try 32 and see
I have
how that
old lady
looks.
eyes. Remember that?
That's true. So
I thought Susie
I thought Susie taking posters for missing and murdered Indigenous women.
That's not a complete sentence, guys. Guys, you better speak to me in proper English here because I'm not going to be able to understand you. Can you read that again? I don't know. Maybe we missed it.
Possibly.
She took posters. Did she give to authorities to check? Oh, it's getting bigger. And find out what they know. Ask for help. Nope. That's right. She didn't. Which is like, it makes you wonder how much this was really about searching for murdered and missing Indigenous women. I showed you that a lot of the folks in these groups and organizations, they'll post a picture of themselves with like buckets and brooms, and they're like, we're cleaning up, but you don't actually see the trash that they're picking up. Remember in the disaster relief pictures I kept showing you? They're just raising money off of these pictures. Sometimes they don't even use their own pictures. Remember when I showed you that Terrence Daniels was using Hillary Rodham Clinton's tweet pictures of the wildfires in California to raise money to buy people masks when he wasn't even there? Like, this just keeps happening to people because they go, oh, well, it's a good cause. Cindy, don't you care about the people in the wildfire? Yes, I do. These people don't. I do care about the people in the caravan. These people do not. And they're dangerous. They are hella dangerous.
Okay, we're clarifying on that earlier sentence. It's simple. Did she take posters for missing murdered Indigenous women in Mexico? Is that better?
Did she take posters of missing and murdered Indigenous women in Mexico?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. She told me in the message she sent to me that she went there to look for her, like a sister-in-law or something. And that there was a phone call that she got that was from Mexico. She didn't say where. Like, if you just set foot inside of Mexico, that doesn't mean that you're anywhere close to the place where she actually called from. And how would you know? So there's that. And then, of course, she didn't seem to be doing anything that indicated she was searching. Like, normally when you search for people, you do more than just, stick posters on a wall. She didn't even show herself doing that. She's like, we're going to go to Kinko's and get some posters done. And I'm like, you didn't even bring posters? You got to go to Kinko's in Tijuana to get it? Like, it just seems like you weren't really prepared for the thing you said you were there for. So let me just bring up how Madeline Kelly Merritt, who is tagged in that post with these two actresses from Hollywood, what does that have to do with the caravan? What does that have to do with Deborah, Susie, a.k.a. Vanessa Dundon, and missing and murdered Indigenous women, right? If you will recall, Madeline Kelly Merritt's platform that she basically started and still runs, Activate Now, had her, sexual harasser Ed Higgins and drunk driver Ed Higgins as their chief correspondent. They also had Terrence Daniel, the guy that I told you was defrauding people. I showed you that he defrauded people online. He had Mike Fassig. Oh, that was the guy that whose son raped a woman and just went away, convicted for, was it 6 years, 9 years? And Mike Fassig, the other correspondent, helped to cover it up, along with the other correspondent for Activate Now, Aubrey Peckham. Is that enough crimes? No, there are more. And among all of these people, they never stopped supporting all of these men, all of these predators. They never distanced themselves, not even because they're Hollywood actresses. No. They post pictures like the ones I've showed you saying, my BFF. So, excuse me if I find it a little bit hypocritical for Rebelon to post a video of her at a women's march with the hashtag #MeToo people saying this. listen to this video that is titled, I'm just going to share a little snippet of a powerful poem that she laid down at this women's march called Sound Effects.
Mm-hmm.
How did I get here? How did I say no? How did no one say no? But by now you've unbuckled your belt, sound effect, and you've dropped your pants, sound effect, and you lean over my unconscious body and you say, do you want it? And silence, total silence. So you lean over again and you say, you'll like it. And silence, total silence. By now you've entered my body, pounded my soul, and devirginized my innocence. By now you have enjoyed my curves, my childbearing hips, turns and twists, my tender breasts, my lifeless lips, my empty mind, and now my troubled soul. By now you have murdered the woman I have been and given birth to a new version of me that I am forced to be. The act of rape is the act of murder. I will never be myself again. I will never see men the same way. I will never forget the sound effects.
I will never understand how these people can talk out of one side of their mouth and then also out of the other side.
How did I get here? How did I...
I'm having deja vu, Nemo. Help me. How did I get here? Why am I hearing that crazy woman again?
My bad.
I want to know, how do women like Rebelon and Kelly Merritt and Frances Fisher and Vanessa Dundon uplift men like the ones in this movement, like Evan K. Duke, like Myron Dewey, like Mike Fassig, like Ed Higgins, and so many of the men that I have shown you on this show are predators, are rapists. Red Wolf Pope, Frank Archambault, I've shown you their records. I showed you that they're registered sex offenders. That doesn't matter. They continue to work with them. How do women like you, Estefania Rebelon, Frances Fisher, Vanessa Dundon, how do you stand there with a straight face, asking for money for missing and murdered Indigenous women? You have no business advocating for those women. No business. None. At least if you had a little bit of shame, you would know better. But on top of the fact that these people that are exploiting the caravan goers are frauds, liars, and actors, literally, okay? They're not equipped, skilled, or knowledgeable about what the hell it is that they say that they're gonna do. And why would you find the most incompetent people to lead the way on such an urgent, complicated, and sensitive issue like migrants? Because you know you're not just talking about migrants, you're talking about kidnapping, you're talking about rape, you're talking about trafficking, you're talking about all of those things when you're talking about what happens to migrants and around migrants, especially when you're talking about Mexico, right? All right, you can make me little again. Now I want to show you this video from KVEO News that just surfaced that one of you sent me about what's going on at the Somisec Village camp in Mission, Texas. Here's what KVEO News said about it.
We've had enough. They're digging up our people, and anytime that you dig anybody up and you put them somewhere else, that's just ethnic cleansing all over again, genocide.
For the past 2 weeks, Tribal Chairman Juan Mancias of the Carrizo Come Crudo tribe of Texas and his clan have set up camp in San Juan at the Jackson Brewster Cemetery to take a stand against the border wall, something the tribe has been fighting since 2005.
We're the only native tribe that anybody has recorded in history that has fought against this border. So we're still here saying, we don't want you to put this up because you're giving up. In this point right here, you're almost giving up 3 miles of U.S. territory.
The Carrizo tribe is joined by several other groups and activists. Their current campsite sits along the levee where the border wall is expected to be built. Mancia says 150 feet on both sides of the levee will be bulldozed over, which will include several grave sites near that area.
You see that they're going to have to exhume all these people. There's veterans that are buried here, and at the other cemetery over there, there's a Texas Ranger.
I asked Mancias what will happen if his peaceful stance does not work and they start to exhume the bodies.
We've got some of the relatives here that are willing to take a stand. They're not going to let them. They're ready to get in front of the machinery.
Mancias adds he will stand with those relatives and
There's
adds
Tucker.
many more protesters are on the way.
Brendan
the stance
Tucker.
against the wall will be expanding to several other campsites
Standing
along the
Rock.
border. Mancias says they will be prepared when the bulldozers roll in.
Well, the rent's due. So that's all I got to say. You can't continue to do this without asking us. And we don't need to have federal recognition to do it. There's a certain thing called Aboriginal inherent rights. And we are the original people of this land.
In San Juan, I'm Mike Jimenez for KVO Local 23 News.
Okay, we are no longer operating under the laws of the United States, the Constitution, and the judiciary system here in America. Now, what was it called? Aboriginal?
Yeah, some Aboriginal law of indigeneity or something like that. And like,
Where is that enforced? Who enforces that?
I know. I was just like, wait.
Is it like
wait.
a tribal lawyer
Yeah.
like Chase Iron-Eyes, Tara
I
Hauska?
was having a moment where I was like, Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore. So, if I was thinking about like what law is this? Because I don't know anything about this law or heard of it. I mean, I understand it as a concept that like, yes, certain indigenous groups are, where they're supposed to be and they're meant to be, but like, I don't think there's any law that's enforced here in the United States where we currently live. Some of us, at least.
Tribes have their own court systems, and they have their own laws, and they have their own lawyers, and they have their own judges. And I believe in native sovereignty. I believe that they should have the right to hold their own courts and enforce their own laws on their own land.
Sure.
But we're not talking about that in this case because the borders are controlled, and all border entry points are the property and the dominion of the federal government of these United States. So I'm going to try and decipher what I think that meant.
Well, you would be the more learned person about that. Like, you have an education law. So
I'm going to take a stab at it.
take a step.
I think they're going to break the law. I mean, what is he saying? We don't have to follow the law.
That's usually what it implies. Like, if we don't have to follow the law, that means there is no law because they don't want to deal with it being enforced upon them. So,
Okay, so they're going to make a call out. What's going to happen if when they get here to, because, they've declared, the government can declare eminent domain. That's one of their privileges to do if they're building infrastructure like a wall or a road, or here in North Dakota, a pipeline. So what are they going to do when the bulldozers get there? Oh, we're going to call some relatives. The relatives are not going to let this happen, he says. They're ready to lay their bodies in front of machinery. Sound familiar? We lived a camp at Standing Rock for over a year with people that were constantly doing this. And it cost North Dakota a lot of money. It was crazy. So now they're going to do this in Mission, Texas. Yay for Texas. You get to have these lunatics in your state, on your border, for God knows how long, doing crazy things like he just announced they're about to do. That's what's coming for you. And they have a base camp Facebook page. It is the Gomez-Schempp Village Base Camp. Show them the Facebook page, Nemo.
all right. One moment, please.
It is the Gomez-Schempp Village Base Camp. And
Base camp. Found it.
And this is what it looks like. It's got the crest of the Carrizo Come Crudo tribe on it. even though I believe Somisec just means place where we are, which is, in this case, Texas. And they have a GoFundMe. Showed them the GoFundMe, Nemo. The GoFundMe is very interesting, guys. They're wanting to raise $6,500 for the Wall Warriors advance to, what does it say? Lehigh Village Camp?
Lehigh Village Camp. Exactly.
So they have another camp that they're creating, or that they may have already set up somewhere else. Also, you should know that this was started by the Border Support Network group admin Joe Plouffe. Another thing you should know about this is that it's not being raised under a nonprofit. It's being raised under the umbrella of a fiscal agent called Camps Arising. And I want to show you their about page from the interwebs. You can go check it out for yourself. But I found this interesting because I'm like, so Camps Arising, it sounds like it has something to do with camps rising, up out of nowhere all over the place, right? But then you go to the about page and tell them what their mission is, Nemo.
Their mission here, according to the about or whatever, is to support educational.
Can you be on the screen, on the tiny screen at the bottom when you're reading, so they can see you?
Yes. One moment. It's kind of far away from me. Here we go. Our mission to support educational and peaceful activities that demand action reducing climate change.
Climate change?
Right. Moving from a fossil fuel dependency to proven renewable energy sources that will benefit all. We do this by distributing necessary support gear and supplies to establish encampments of prayer, education, and peaceful direct action.
That means committing crimes that get you arrested.
Right. So that's their whole shtick.
Okay. So here's the thing. Because I know it was confusing. It's very confusing, right? Because I thought there was the butterfly sanctuary, because we have to save the butterflies, and the veterans cemetery, because there's veterans, and also there's Native Americans buried in there. So there's Native Americans. Do not desecrate the Native American burial sites. And finally, we have resistance to the border wall. We're not going to let that border come through here because of the butterflies, of the veterans, of the Native American burial sites. But the organization that umbrellas them is really about energy policy. What? What does this have to do with the caravan again? Well, then they were having a march today. I'll show you some of the coverage here. And Meisha Camp, one of the key organizers of the camps here in Standing Rock and in North America, where they spread out afterwards, like first to Flint, and then they were all over the place. They were everywhere, even in Canada. This guy was kind of instrumental in a lot of that. He was Meisha Camp. He was all over the place. He was there. I'm like, oh my God, a whole bunch of the people from Standing Rock are showing up. When's Nathan getting there? Is Nathan Phillips already there? I don't know. And then he gets pulled over by the cops. So it was pretty interesting. Here's a screen capture of them getting pulled over by the cops. And I just wanted to show you that the cop was asking him questions. The cop was super nice. He's like, where are you guys going? What are you guys doing?
Mm-hmm.
And he looks really nervous. Like he's looking around and he's like, oh, we're just out here. I think he said they were going to pray or something like that. We're on a prayer walk, I think he said. Anyway, I want you to hear what he says once the cop goes and starts checking his license and registration while the person inside is still filming. And you can take me off screen for a second and put yourself on it.
Sure. One moment. I'm going to play this video while I do
So,
that.
this is kind of typical. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Mikasi Campornik. I'm from the Ponca Nation. We're here to be in solidarity with the relatives on south of the border, the imaginary border. We as indigenous people recognize our indigenous relatives from the south have a right to come cross this imaginary border freely through our treaty rights and our ancestral trade routes that have been established since the beginning of time. Our people have traveled back and forth north to the south and south to the north to trade with each other and to live together and coexist together. And we feel that our people still have that right and that we still have that right. And we're here in opposition to the President Trump's border wall. We feel that it is, there's like 3-4 more cops that just pulled up on us. We feel that it's a violation of not only indigenous rights, but a violation of human rights, and that people have a right to coexist and cohabitate and to live in peace. And these people are just trying to come here. Our indigenous relatives from the south are trying to come here and make a better life for their children, for their families, and we accept them into our homelands.
Okay. But also, it's the future now. It's the present. We have a lot of other people living here. And it's called the United States of America now, and it has laws. And hey, you know what? I don't like the speed limit, especially when it's really like in Iowa, where a lot of places it's 55. But I don't just drive whatever speed I want and go, hey, this is my original continent. This is my original land where my ancestors came from. So I don't really have to follow the laws because I'm still going to get a ticket. And these people are still going to get arrested. You know what I mean? It's just silly to be like, I think we should have the right to bring people into the country illegally and that we shouldn't have to respect the border or border points of entry or the laws about immigration because we're Native American. Like, what? I don't understand. I think that these people, the way that they, double speak, what they're trying to tell you is stuff's about to go down and it's going to look like criming. And you're going to ask yourselves, why you criming? And the answer we're going to give you sounds a little something like this. We don't believe that's a crime. We don't think the laws apply to us. We don't think we have to follow them. And we actually intend to break them. Right? Because that's what I'm hearing. You hearing something else?
No, I'm not really hearing anything else. It's the in line with exactly what you're saying in terms of like, oh, there's a law. Well, I'm just gonna ignore that, I guess. Too bad, isn't it?
Pretty much. And of course, the marchers were carrying signs and flags because, of course, they were live streaming it. There's a handful of people, maybe 25, 30, perhaps, if I like imagine it like being much, much bigger than it looks on the screen from what I saw. There was 50 tops. Here is a picture from a screen capture of Evan K. Duke III in this march with these people. I will share the video in the comments of this show from Facebook so you can go watch the whole thing for yourself, But this is a picture of Evan K. Duke. There he is with his little kifa scarf wrapped around his neck. And also his weird Doug flag. It's named after the Douglas fir. This is a flag that is also known as the Cascadia flag. And it represents like all the Oregon and like this Cascadia, where the area where the Cascadia mountain range is. It's really obscure, and I had to crowdsource the answer for the "what the hell is that flag" question tonight, because I'm like, what is this flag doing at the border of Texas? And why are these people that are supposedly caravan support and against the border wall doing with this flag and Standing Rock's flag? What does this mean? And then I found out that this flag is used at a lot of Occupy movement rallies and marches. And this guy's the founder of Occupy Inauguration, Occupy ICE, and also of Abolish ICE, as I have always told you. So there's that, and also at environmental marches. And this fits the bill with both of those. It's just like dovetails. So that's why that wacko flag is there. And speaking of wackos, Lolly B posted another video of herself talking nonsense about something she does not know about. And among the things that she talks about in this video is the fact that the United States has a new policy, which they are implementing, to make people wait for their asylum hearing in Mexico. And she does attempt to downplay the fact that that is happening, that's definitely happening now, and there's nothing you can do about it. So all of those lies you told those people in the caravan, that, you know, you promised them that they were going to get to the American dream and you're going to cross them into the United States and they were going to get to stay in the United States, are falling apart. Your lies are falling apart as people keep getting sent back. So she's trying to put that genie back in the bottle, and she's like, we really don't know what's going on with that policy. And I think that, yes, they started it on the first day. That's why there were so many people that went back to Mexico that first day, because that was the first day. But now it's like maybe one person a day, like hardly any people. That's not what I heard on the Mexican news, Lolly. Laura Christina Livingston Berger. She is full of poo, because what I heard is that the first day was a day that they didn't send that many people over, and it was quite a lot more than just 11 or 12 people the first day. And second of all, they expected that the amount of people that come over every day increases steadily. That's what they said in the Mexican media. So they're already planning on, you know, figuring out how they're going to deal with that at the various shelters around the city. And it's very difficult for these people that have been lying to the caravan to accept that now they're not going to be meeting these expectations. And as they're trotting around Tijuana, they're going to keep running into these people that they lied to, who are going to be like, what the hell? You told me I would be in the United States, and I've been here in Mexico for months and months and months, and this is not where my destination was supposed to end. A lot of those people that have already been in Tijuana for too long are going home. In fact, there were people that came with previous caravans that these people were directing, that they did test runs on, where people have already gone back. But you don't hear about those cases very often. I'm going to remind you of one of those people tonight. They're no longer with us, and it's no thanks to these people like Lolly B. So I wanted to also, I'm not going to show you all of Lolly B's video. I'm only going to show you like a 3-minute snippet. And if you have protective gear for your ears, I suggest you get that out now. I'm only playing 3 seconds, but that is long enough to cause permanent ear damage listening to this woman. And in it, she also talks about the fact that, you know what? Since we oopsied on the you're going to get to stay in the United States while you wait for your asylum hearing thing, could you guys send us some more money so that we can get apartments for the people that are seeking asylum while they wait here? get a damn job. That's what the rest of the people that have humanitarian visas in Mexico are doing. They're getting a damn job. And they're renting apartments. What is so special about these people? Perhaps are they keeping some secret for you? Do you not want them to get mad and start talking to the media and pointing fingers at you? Is that what it is? I don't know. I'm asking questions. But she wants to know if you would be so kind as to donate to that. And also, some of these people that they told we're going to get out of the detention centers in a little bit, they might have to stay in there for months. Turns out, maybe even a year. And while they're in there, they can't work like they were planning on doing while they were waiting. And even when they do get out of detention centers, while they're waiting for their hearing, they don't get to work in the United States for the first 3 months. So could you maybe give them some more money so that they can send money back to their families in Honduras and El Salvador and Nicaragua and Guatemala, because they can't work? So could you do it for them and support their families back home? Oh, by the way, there are some kids that need to go to school back in Honduras for one of their friends that's here seeking asylum. So could you pretty please pony up the money for the tuition for all the kids and their supplies? I mean, the insanity of this is just breathtaking to me. But in this clip that I'm going to show you, the crazy ramblings of this woman, where she is telling people that she basically that they don't know what the hell they're doing. Take a listen.
Good morning.
Oop. There you go.
Good morning. It is Monday. And I just wanted to give an update. I'm here standing in front of the giant Tijuana sign. You can't really read all the letters, but it says Tijuana, and over there it says Mexico, but there's some police right there, so I don't want to get them on camera. I'm interested to see if this is going to stay live, because if you've been following, my last 2 videos have been edited and kind of bothered by Facebook. So I don't know why, because I'm not doing anything that is against any laws. So anyway, just wanted to give an update. We came here this morning, and they brought a couple people across. As usual, so far the number of people that have been returned has been much lower. So literally what we discovered is last Tuesday, the day that some of our friends happened to be crossing over, there also was a visit from the head of the Immigration or Homeland Security Department from the United States. Sorry, I forget her name. It was something like Kristen. And so basically, because she was on site, I believe in San Diego, they ran a lot more numbers than they usually do. So they took over 80 people, whereas they've usually been taking 20. Don't quote me on those numbers, it's just an estimate. So basically they took a lot more people than usual on that one day to act as if they are always taking that many people, which they're not. So then also that program started that day, and so then they returned 12 people that day, and then they've been returning just 1 or 2 every other day. And so okay, good. I'm glad that the service is working. So basically, we're still trying to figure out what the policy means. They said that there's a statement and put out again that they're going to expand that policy of bringing people back. They said that apparently it's working, which I don't know how they're guiding that, other than the fact that people like us volunteers are finding the people coming back and getting them set up with help. There's actually no services being provided for them by the Mexican government. We read some document, I'm forgetting what, where it said that basically the people that were returned were going to be told, or were going to be provided for, that the Mexican government was going to provide them with humanitarian services. And yet that's not happening, because we're literally standing here and people will just come out and look totally lost, and they have no idea what to do or where to go, and they're like, oh, okay, I just came back, I have a court date in 6 weeks, but what do I do now? So yeah, we have not seen any large shelters opening up, no kitchens. So we're wondering, like, we have people here, volunteers, waiting to see if people are returned back each day and then taking care of them and the resources that we have. But we have not seen any kind of formal provisions provided for these people coming back. So we're kind of like worried, our friends happen to come back and we're close with them, we know them, and now we're having to relaunch another fundraiser because we're needing to provide for them for longer term. They're going to be getting jobs. One of our guys started a new job yesterday, but I know just for right now, we were expecting them to be not well taken care of, unfortunately, but provided for in the Hielera, in the detention, and now that is not happening.
I swear to God, she's on something, right? Like, did they increase her Ritalin dosage or something? It was just crazy. She just goes.
Yeah, I couldn't follow her train of thought at all. It was just like one thing for the next, like on high speed, like whoa. I'm not connecting these concepts together at all. But I did hear a lot of, please send more money.
Then you were listening. So, she literally gave me a headache. So if anybody out there can hear me in the other
I was
part
feeling
of the
it
studio.
like it was high frequency for sure.
It is. It pierces your ear. I told you to get the equipment, right? Anyway, I need a pain reliever of some sort now because I have piercing headache from listening to her lies. By the way, that was all lies. The program is a United States policy now, and it's working, meaning they're supposed to be waiting in Mexico. They're not providing any humanitarian aid. That's what the work visa's for. Didn't they already have months to do that and process it while they were waiting before they crossed? Or did they not bother to do that because you lied to them? Or did they not bother to do all of the logical things one would do if you're a migrant, like find out what shelters you can go to in town so that in the likely outcome that you are deported back to Mexico because your asylum claim is not accepted, which, 90% plus of these asylum claims will not be accepted. Then, you'll know exactly the lay of the town and you'll be able to figure out how to get to one of those shelters that you've already checked out, because you understand that the likelihood of you getting rebounded over that border is like 90%. 90%, especially if you're requesting an asylum claim. Especially if you're requesting asylum. So, I think that this problem that they have, that they expect people to pay their rent and give them sustenance, as she calls it, is cuckoo. It's completely nutso. They're not invalids. Yes, some of them are unaccompanied minors. Mexico's not taking any of those back. If unaccompanied minors go into the United States, they have to keep them. They cannot return them to Mexico. That's what I've heard in the Mexican media that the policy entails. One of the things. So, this is a problem that you, the organizers that lied to this caravan, created by not allowing them to be prepared for what they're going to have to do when they go back. Because if you were intelligent, you would have already planned for all of that. You would have been thinking along the route, I'm probably going to get tossed back into Mexico because I'm not going to get asylum. I mean, who am I kidding? The likelihood that I'll get to wait in the United States and be allowed to work while I'm waiting is also pretty small. Of the sliver of the 10% that might, and I'm being generous because it's more like 7% of claims get accepted for asylum. But of the 10%, let's just say 10. Kick it up, round it. Of the 10% that are going to possibly be accepted, a smaller sliver will be allowed to stay in the United States while they wait. A smaller sliver. And of that number, there's going to be a majority that are tossed into Mexico to wait. So, any intelligent human being, and I've been saying this from the moment that they came through the southern border of Mexico, this is how it's going to go. They're going to get sent back. They're all going to be deported. What's been happening? Just what I said. And the reality is that if they had known that in the beginning, they would have made damn sure they got their humanitarian visa to work to Mexico so that as soon as they got back over the border, and they would have probably been working the entire time before they crossed into the United States so that they had money when they got out of the detention center in the United States to get a hotel room or a place to stay or a room at the Y or something. And then if they got tossed back into Mexico, they would have some money to take a bus, even just to take a bus to one of the shelters that they'd already scoped out. But see, these people in the organizations that I've been showing you, they keep the caravan people stupid. They purposely do not allow them to gain important knowledge, information, documentation, identification, traveling papers, work, etc. They purposely keep them dependent on them so that they can control them at all times. And they want you to pay for it. And people are paying for it.
It's quite literally a hostage situation.
Say more about that, Nemo. A lot more.
Well, like, you think about it, you have your abusive figure who's like, pay me money and then and I'll leave. And then when you pay them more money, then they don't leave. And it's like, I thought we just made a deal. It's like, nope, I lied about that. You are still mine to screw around with. So I guess you're just going to have to deal with that now. And I'm not going to leave. And you really have to kind of run without giving in to their demands.
I think it also puts the migrants in really precarious situations that are ripe for abuse, exploitation, harassment, trafficking, all of those things. It's really when I see the school bus thing they want to do and the people involved in these groups that I've been showing you, I'm like, hell no. People have no business with children or the elderly or the infirm or none of that. No, senor. So, Lolly B lying to the people out there, and now she has to face the music. Because, you know what? There's going to be a lot of angry people. And she's like, for all the people that are asking questions, and there's a lot of people out there spreading false lies and rumors. I know you're talking about me. I am not spreading false lies and rumors. I have verified with receipts everything that I say. So let me show you who she's working with, because she mentioned someone in here other than herself that you can send money to if you want to help, if you really want to help. It's called the Rapid Response Group, the San Diego Rapid Response Network, to be precise. And she's like, another place you can help is this group. And who are they, you may ask? Well, this is their Facebook page. This is their GoFundMe. Because you know, they got to have a GoFundMe. Holy tamales, $250,000. That's a lot of money they're asking for right there, folks. A lot of money. Who's asking for it, Nemo? Who's the person asking for the money?
Let's see. The person asking for the money, if they will reveal the name here.
No, it's like a magic trick.
It is kind of a magic trick.
I can't
and a
wait.
lot of focus.
I'm so excited.
Me too.
I'm so excited right now.
Oh, I know what I did. I know what I did.
What'd you do? You locked it.
I did.
That's what you got to remember.
I did. Well, I locked it because I didn't think I was going to move it, but I did need to zoom in, and that's a requirement. So
It says charity.
yep, fundraising
Charity?
team, charity.
Jewish Family Services of San Diego.
Yes.
Now, that is just one of the many organizations that are associated with this. Another one is the Minority Humanitarian Foundation that belongs to Mark Lane. Remember I told you about that? Minority Humanitarian Foundation and how weird it was that they had this. Why are you putting that up?
Oh, because it's the next thing.
No.
Wait, we're not ready for that, are we?
We're not. No, not at all. We're not ready for that. And you should make me big when we're not ready for the thing yet.
Yes.
So, the Minority Humanitarian Foundation was started by a guy named Mark Erebos. And then I told you that I didn't understand why Mark Lane was now running an organization by this name, but it looked like the original thing was for Chaldean and Iranian refugees. And I couldn't figure out what that had anything to do with Central Americans in a caravan, and how this guy that produces content, Mark Lane, for the Young Turks, and has been on Cenk Uyghur's show and has been featured on Cenk Uyghur's show, talking about the caravans, got started doing work with refugees of any kind. Because, like, he had a restaurant, he had a seafood restaurant. That was, like, his thing. And apparently he has some product line that I'm checking into. I'm not going to talk about it quite yet, but I'll get back to that later. So, then I actually have heard through one of my sources that there was a lawsuit, and that's why Mark Erebos no longer runs it, and he just poof, disappeared. Where are you, Mark? Where'd you go? And the guy that was being the vice president at the time is now the president, and he's only like 32 years old, so it's a little sketch. His name is James Elias, or Elia. Anyway, you remember me talking to you about that? If you don't, you need to go watch my shows that I did on Not Your Migrant Caravan and Caravan Clashes. I will be sharing all of my caravan shows in the comments of this show, but you can also go to kpppfm.com and then just scroll down a little bit on the homepage. There's a search bar to the right. Type in caravan, and you will find everything related to the caravan. If you want to find something related to Nathan Phillips, type in Nathan Phillips. Indigenous Peoples Movement, you get the picture, right? So then, this Minority Humanitarian Foundation's guy, Mark Lane, that I told you works for TYT, is one of the main characters in the San Diego Rapid Response Group. And the other one is Mohammed El Nakib. Now, you remember I told you that Mohammed El Nakib and Mark Lane had surfaced in a story that was, I believe, in KPBS. Oh, no, that was the one. KPBS was the one that Evan Duke called himself Antifa in. No. And I'll talk about them in a minute here. But it was a different newspaper story. But I showed you that it had pictures of the people that they had gotten hotel rooms for that they said had chicken pox, and that Linda Sarsour was tagged in and said, I'll pay for the hotel rooms. Remember that? Okay. And they're calling, and they were talking about the rapid response. I thought that was just what they called themselves, because they were doing this response to people getting out of detention facilities. But they actually have a group. It's a different group. I don't know if they are, sponsored by the organization of Mark Lane or the other organization. I don't know how they're funded, but they are asking for a hell of a lot of money. And I've told you that Mark Lane, the TYT, the Justice Democrats, the politicians, the Hollywood figures, this is the echelon that's at the top of the pyramid. We're getting to the very tippy top. Mark Lane is part of those people. So is Mohammed El Nakib. So is Linda Sarsour. So Here's the rapid response GoFundMe. Did we already look at that?
Let's find out if we did. I will.
You don't remember?
Well, there was a GoFundMe, but
Was it the one for San
we-
Diego rapid response?
We saw that one.
Yep,
and
we
then,
did.
And then we were going to this
Okay.
thing.
What I wanted to show you in this one, oh my God, I skipped. Oh no, I'm fine.
You're good.
This is a post by a woman, I think. What is it? What is her name?
The poster was Miguel Dawson, actually.
Can you read what it says, please?
Yes, I will read. Let me just switch the camera to me.
And you're gonna have to scroll. So.
So, San Diego Rapid Response Network. I am looking for answers. After volunteering and hearing stories from families in your shelters, I have learned, 1, the disorganization and territoriality in your facility that I volunteered is palpable. I was set to help transport a family a few days ago, and your worker on site had no idea I was even coming. When I arrived, I was told to take the car seats out of my car in order to help with a large group. I was asked to clean multiple areas of the shelter. This happened although I had confirmed with your staff that I was transporting 2 people multiple times in a days prior. My car seats were then put in storage by your manager on site, and although I was told twice that I was going to help with the transport, that ended up not being the case.
Can you go to the bottom?
I think I can. I just have to find
Believe
my...
in yourself, Nemo. Believe in yourself.
I just have to find where I am in the lineup here. Here we go. Let's see if I can move it.
Use your muscles.
Effort. Effort. Okay.
Keep going.
So to add insult, my car seats were then left at the bottom of the pile in your storage area, making it very difficult for me to leave. The manager on duty apologized, but as I was putting my car seats back into my car, he said, "By the way, we need you to clean up that front area too." Needless to say, after my next 2 points, I will work with you in ventures of joint interest, but I will not be interested in working under anyone during my volunteer time. 2. One of the members of your leadership thought it was a good idea to scare a group of asylum-seeking families that were hosted by local activists by telling them my friends didn't have their best interests in mind. They showed up in a large van in the hotel that my friends helped them to check into and told them that they had to check out of the hotel and go to the RRN shelter. This sounds less like rapid response and more like reactive action. Egotism has no space in this time where leaders of organizations like yours need to be leading with love, not brinkmanship. 3. You released a child you knew and diagnosed as having chickenpox to my friend's house with no advance warning. A house
That's the chickenpox reference.
A house with over half a dozen kids and a child that has arrived here from South America with Down syndrome. Not only did you risk
Down syndrome, did you say?
Mm-hmm.
Is his name Javi?
Don't know.
That's who he is.
Mm-hmm. Not only did you risk the safety of those children, but also expose my children to that airborne disease as well, since I brought them along. Objectively, a reckless action. 3 strikes in 3 days. These mistakes all happened over 72 hours. Can any local politician illuminate why this organization is given 6 to 7 digit budget by the ACLU of San Diego and Imperial Counties?
She tagged them. Tag.
ACLU, Lorena, Alexandria,
Gonzalez Fletcher.
Read
these names.
Lorena Gonzalez Fletcher, Alejandra Sotelo
Solis.
Thank you. Congresswoman Susan Davis, Assembly Member Shirley Weber, Congressman Juan Vargas. Props to the people being helpful.
Who are they?
Chelsea Joy Acosta, Mark Lane,
Ah.
Shane Parmalee, and Rebecca
Shane
Taylor.
Palmieri?
It looks like Parmalee. That's what
Parmeri. Parmelli?
It looks like Parmelli.
Shane Parmelli and Rebecca
Taylor.
Taylor. So the people being helpful, the people that she is in favor of, the people that she is for, is Mark Lane.
Mm-hmm.
And she tags Rapid Response right at the top. So they're working with Rapid Response. They're the ones that had the kids with the chicken pox.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that had to get Linda Sarsour's help to pay for hotel rooms because the kids had chicken pox. These kids had chicken pox when they were in the shelter at Viento y Marea. The Mexican health authorities had already reported this. Some of you geniuses in the organization and exploitation of these caravans told these people that it was a good idea to take those kids with chickenpox into the United States. Just like you told Roxana, who had AIDS, that it was a good idea to go into a detention facility and die of complications. So, but you know, they're not responsible for anything. Other people are responsible. And did you hear the part where somebody came up to these people, the people in the caravan, and told them that the people they were with did not have their best interest at heart? Good for you. Nice angel out there went up to these people and told them the truth. Watch out. I hope they get the message sooner or later, because these folks have no idea. No idea. Javi, the kid with Down syndrome, you know what Mark Lane took him to do? After he got into the United States, he took him to drive expensive, super expensive cars like Lamborghinis, and I don't remember the name of cars, so I can't tell you what the other ones were because I don't do cars. But they were some pretty expensive cars, and who does that? Who does that? So that the it's like poverty porn. Oh, look, they're streaming to everybody in Honduras so that this kid with Down syndrome represents the American dream. We told him we would get him here. We got him here. He's riding around in a Lambo, and you're not. You didn't think that we were going to, follow through on all the promises we made to the people that we've been lying to since Honduras, right? Suddenly, here's a kid driving around in a Lambo, so must be true. Don't believe those people telling you that you're going to end up getting deported. Ignore anybody that tries to take away your American dream. You're going to make it. That's what they keep telling these people. And for some reason, people believe them. Remember, this is the guy, Mark Lane, who is connected to Mohammed El-Nakib, and Linda Sarsour. She was helping pay for the rooms. Here is Rapid Response connection to Mohammed.
I will go fetch that.
Go fetch it for me. And there is a connection between Mohammed and Mark Lane. This is a post by Latham
Staples.
Could you please
Latham
read it?
Staples. It says, Border Patrol is going to dump another 175 people on the streets in San Diego tonight, with no food or shelter. Rapid Response Network can only take in 97. If you are willing to house a family or book a hotel room for the night, please message Mohammed M. El-Nakib.
Hey, Americans, do you got some money so we can put some of these refugees up in or asylum seekers or whatever you want to call them up in a hotel? Or could you host a family? It's just so simple to do, right? Like, there's no legal requirements, is there, Cindy? Yes, there is. Lots of them. Like, they don't tell people anything about the responsibility, the legal responsibility of if you pay someone's bail, right, and you give your address as the address where the person is going to be at, you're going to be questioned and held responsible for whatever happens if that person absconds, right? So this is the kind of thing that you're taking on if you take on. This is not like adopting a cat, okay? These folks are treating it like it's just some, fluffy, fun thing. Here is an article from the San Diego Voice. In this article, in the San Diego Voice, you have the city, county.
Yeah, city, county officials are making moves to shelter asylum seekers.
This is true. So I saw one of your comments roll by about Gavin Newsom giving them money. I see that it has happened. In fact, it has. You are correct. And guess what? In this article, if you scroll down, which you must do.
I don't think there's more to scroll down to, because it's just.
Then
it's
you'll have
just
to go
that.
to the rapid response, Mohammed
Yeah.
Mark.
That's probably what it is.
That's the part of the article I screen captured. This is the same article that you're looking at right now.
Yeah.
If you can read that for me, please. It says,
Sure thing. It says, the night Garcia and his family were released, they waited outside the McDonald's until 4 a.m. on Christmas Eve. The adults, Garcia, his pregnant wife, sister-in-law, and other parents who have been released stayed awake to ensure their children and belongings weren't stolen. The family eventually managed to gain contact with local advocate Mark Lane, who they remembered from his visits to the shelter in Tijuana, where he brings donations. Mohammed El Nakib, who works with Lane on these issues, came down to get the families and brought them to a hotel. On Friday, Garcia's family flew to Pennsylvania, where they have relatives.
that's enough.
Yeah. Okay.
That's enough.
Cool.
I just want to show you that they appear together in articles. A lot of these folks, and these folks are tight with Bertie Gutierrez, who I told you runs the Caritas shelter in Tijuana, where they keep taking all the donations, where all the children are. Do you remember that, what's his name? Wiaka Eagleman and Dwayne Redwater, the two guys that were from Standing Rock that took their drums down there and were singing native songs at the shelter. We're going to the Caritas shelter over and over and over again with Bertie Gutierrez. She runs that place, I've heard. And apparently she's been running that place since the fire that took place when Pitaya Queen and the LGBTQ caravan were there. Remember, I told you that Mexican authorities that had investigated that fire said that they believed that she had something to do with the arson that occurred there. Then, shortly after that happened, Bertie Gutierrez is running the place. So there's one of the places, another one of the places I told you they congregate at is Enclave Caracol. Plus, this group of people hangs out with Mark Lane. They protest together. Mohammed El Nakib in San Diego, Bertie Gutierrez, all of them, Doug McLean, and people from that lawyers group that I told you about yesterday, Al Otro Lado. So here is the Chillactivism article. In this article, I found another mention of Mr. El Nakib at some, protest event.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to notice, this was in Rewire News.
Mm-hmm.
Please notice who the writer of this article is.
Oh.
And read her name and read the date of the article.
August 3rd, 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Ari Onarvar.
Ari Onarvar.
Onarvar.
I don't know how she pronounces her name. Honarvar, Ari Onarvar. Okay, now I want you to scroll down.
Mm-hmm.
You guys remember that name? Is it ringing a bell for you? Are you remembering where you've heard that name before? Well, I did have it on my show before, and it was associated with Mark Lane. I'm going to show you. Real quick, I had told you before, while Nemo scrolls down to the part where El Nakib is in this article.
Well, let's see. I don't know if that's part of that.
Oh, do you think it won't scroll further?
Nope.
Well, maybe I didn't scroll down. But he is in this article. And I mostly was shocked by the name of the author of the article in Rewire because I'd already seen her before. And what I tried to explain to you is that they have go-to media people that they are working with. It's not like, oh, they just have a media contact because they're connected like that. And when they're going to do some action, they call and they're like, hey, like, we're going to do a thing. Like, I know reporters, ever since I was a paralegal here in town, I know reporters I would call for certain things and be like, hey, Kevin Wallavan, or hey, so-and-so, this is going on. Are you going to report on it? Can somebody come out? Whatever, right? No. It's not like this for these people. They work together, and I'm going to show you that. I'm going to prove it because I already showed you all of these pictures from before, so we're going to kind of go through them kind of quick, and you're going to have to drag some of them because there's comments, so you better get really good at unlocking these and moving them around.
I think these ones
We're going to the
unlocked.
Adi Hornarvar folder and start hitting me with these Hornarvar pictures so I can show people.
I will.
This one is a post of Mark Lanes with Ped West border crossing where he tags, pay attention to who he's tagging in here. He says he's working with the A-Team. Paula Mendoza, one of the founders of the Women's March. Oh, so he knows one of the other founders too. He knows Linda Sarsour and Tamika as well. He does. And so does Muhammad Al-Nakib. And then he said he's tagging Bertie Gutierrez, Shane Zoe Winkler, Reigns. That is, I believe, the daughter or granddaughter of Henry Winkler. I can't remember if it's the daughter or the granddaughter. I might be wrong about it being, the daughter or the granddaughter, but it's definitely a relation of his, one of those two things. The Winkler in there. And they got money from this granddaughter or daughter of Henry Winkler's for people in the caravan. Mark Lane did. Hollywood stars are funding this. Or people connected to Hollywood stars. Yolanda Celine, Walter Mead, and Elsa Marie Collins. James Alaya. Why? Did you just hear his name earlier? He's the new president of the organization that Mark is part of that, probably he basically runs because I don't think that this young kid that just became president is running it. The Minority Humanitarian Foundation, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just told you about him. Then we have Julie Peter Kinali. That's another person that they work with. And there's Ari Hornarvar. That's part of his A-Team. But she's also media. She also writes for Yes Magazine. And I'm sure she does for others. And then we have Claudia Simones A. Savila Aguirre. Okay, hit me with the next one.
Okay, will do.
The next one has Ari Hornarvar's post in El Cajon, California, where a lot of these activists and people are congregating, as well as in San Diego. And she's talking about the refugees. And she tags Bertie Gutierrez. And she's talking about some kind of drumming and dance circle to the asylum seekers on the other side of a border. They're literally turning this into, like a Burning Man style festival for these caravan goers. Is it any wonder that as they're coming through Guatemala, this is even before they cross Mexico's southern border, they're having parties night after night to the degree that the Mexican authorities have to be repeatedly called, and they go down there and they get nowhere with these people. The townspeople of San Marcos and Ayutla get together and run them out on a rail, throwing rocks and sticks at them. I told you that happened too. They didn't say a peep about all the noise and the ruckus and their dancing and the craziness that they done. They didn't say anything about that. I showed you that video. Okay, so here, did you still have that video available?
Which one?
The one that you started playing, and I was like, oh, that's from the other night where they were dancing with the music. Do you remember that? When we were setting everything up?
The party thing. It's I may or may not still be. May
Well,
be
if
there.
if it's gone, it doesn't matter. I was just thinking if you had it handy, I could just show it to people real quick. But anyway,
It's from at least 2 or 3 shows ago.
it is. But point is, she is tagged with Birdie because she's not. This shows you clearly that she's not just a reporter that they contacted. She's working with them. And here's another one.
We're just gonna go to the next one.
I think so. I think that's all we got here. We don't need to see the picture, I don't think.
Okay, well, I mean,
Here. Oh wait, do go back to the other one real quick. I do want to make sure and check.
yeah, because I think some of these scroll.
That one is a picture of her with Mark Lane.
Uh-huh.
That's can you go back to the top where you have the names and stuff?
I will go back.
Scroll down.
Maybe, perhaps.
Maybe.
Perhaps.
Boy, this is the one catch that you have a very hard time moving the images. Duke doesn't have as hard of a time as you do.
No, neither.
He seems to.
I usually don't either when I was messing with it in my laptop. But
this seems to be running a lot slower for you. Is it that you need more power, or when you get on the names, just stop right there.
yeah, I'm just okay.
Again, you'll notice that you see a lot of the same names. Oh, that's the same one that we were looking at, right? And then it's got the picture below.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we go all the way to the next one? Yeah.
Okay.
There's Ari Hornarvar talking about how she's going to go there, which is to the border crossing, and she's tagging Al Otro Lado's Nicole Ramos. Nicole Ramos, as you know, is one of the people that founded Al Otro Lado, and the only person from the group of 3 people who I believe founded Al Otro Lado that did not get detained in Mexico and deported, that did not get questioned by Mexico's equivalent of Homeland Security. So Nicole, watch out if you go into Mexico, because it might not be so good coming back. And also, she, it shows that she's at the Garita El Chaparral. Go to the next one.
Okay.
What else we got from this cache of information?
Okay.
No. We have another post by Mark Lane, and he says, if you want to donate, this is what we're going to do with it. He just got this abused girl, just received this text from a father of a 6-year-old who was abused in ICE custody. They received the check for $26,147.29 today that you all helped raise for them. His wife called earlier crying. You videotaped when you took Javi on his little Lamborghini ride. Why don't you have any of the video for this? I want to see one of these migrants holding a giant check. Where's the giant check? Please. One. I want to see him holding it. At least, make me a believer. I want to believe you guys are really giving the migrants this money. Just show me that you are. But it says here that it changes their life. It helps heal their child and their family. Forever humbled. And he tags, again, Elsa Marie Collins, Yolanda, Selena
Walter Mead.
You read him.
Yeah, Walter Mead, Zoe Winkler, Raina Sminka, Kelly, James, Alaya, Ari Honorvar.
James Alaya.
James Alaya.
Ari Hornarvar. And then we have, again, just
Max Cotoril.
Right, Cotoril. Evelyn Velasco, Ana Tarkov, Francisco Javier Aldana, Douglas L. Applegate, Sue Adelson, Catherine Hogue, Birdie Gutierrez, Judith Benitez, Marcos Lane, Peter Canali, Killian Collin, and Mohammed El Nakib.
Mm-hmm.
They all work together, folks. Here's another one. I got more proof. We already did that one.
Oh, okay.
Wait, scroll down, all the way down.
This one might require some scrolling if it
all the way to the comments.
We're going to go
all the way to the
comments.
bottom. Find me the comments at Al Chaparral Garita Chaparral. That's the border entry.
Mm-hmm.
It's got some comments down there. I know. I can see. They number 6.
What kind
Uno,
of help
dos,
is needed?
tres. Are you bringing them items?
Here's
Can
Ari.
we help? How do we do it? What
Donate-
does Ari say? Ari
Donate
says,
money to Mark Lane. He's buying supplies.
oh,
We're heading down together.
okay. Thank you. They're together. Those are her words, not mine. They're together. How can we help? Ari Hornarvar,
And then
give money to Mark Lane.
Yep.
She's fundraising for him. She's working with him. They're going together with Al Otro Lado to stand at the border and wait for the migrants to come through. So I think I've made my point here, but I could go on, and I will. Here's another one.
Okay.
And in this one, she says, after my interview with Cenk Uygur? Yeah, that Cenk. Of the Young Turks, you say? Yep, him. We stayed the night in L.A. and spent Thanksgiving a.m. at the Turkey Trot. We assembled hygiene bags for local homeless people and refugees in Tijuana. Stella is the teen founder of Stella Socks, an organization dedicated to donating socks to homeless people. They donated over 200,000 socks a year. Happy Thanksgiving. And then if you scroll down, you will see the pictures and the comments. And there's Mark Lane. And there in the dark, dark hair is Ari Hornarvar. And if you keep scrolling,
I am making an attempt
scrolling.
to scroll. That might
Keep
be
that
it.
image scrolling.
That might be it.
There's
Because
the
it looks
girl
like
with
it's
the
just-
socks. Keep the scrolling. Right.
I'm hitting the bottom.
Oh, come on.
This is the bottom. It goes there.
Okay,
So-
you're right. Next. Show me the next one. Boom.
Okay, we're gonna
Next, we have
click.
Ari Hornarvar talking about that she's going to do the Young Turks the next day, and they're going to talk about Central American asylum seekers, and there's
Interview LGBTQ asylum seekers.
yes, of course, we got to throw that in there, and then if you scroll down, and she's tagged with Mark Lane in the post. She's doing PR. She's fundraising. She's actually doing actions with them on the bridge. That's not just an objective reporter. That's an activist reporter, and she is working with them. Next.
Okay. I think there's more though because it's still letting me scroll.
Okay.
So there might be something in here that you wanted to show.
I only have stuff down there if I'm going to show it. Oh, Rebel HQ. That's one of their channels. Yep. That's another one of the places where they spew a lot of their propaganda, including all of the propaganda about the Justice Democrats candidates like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And next,
Okay.
we have Ari Hornarvar talking about I think you already saw this one.
Did we?
Unless we needed to scroll all the way down.
Maybe we
Because
did.
it's the same one where they talk about the musical ambassadors of peace.
Right.
and-
Okay. This might
and
give
they
us
and they have
juicy comments.
and they have women in the picture there that are playing all sorts of different instruments. So they really did go to one of the shelters and take them entertainment for them to listen to. I guess Adam Elfers qualifies as entertainment as well. Nope, you're done.
Yep, that was it.
Next, I have the Mark Lane post where he tags not only Nicole Ramos, but also Monica Yvette and Luis Guerrera. And we've got Pedro Rios, Elsa Marie Collins, Yolanda Velasco. Let's see who else. Killian Collin, we saw her before.
Lila.
Ari Hornarvar. We've got Octavio Rafael. We've got who else is in there? Nemo. Who else jumps out at you?
Well, I mean, Birdie's at the end.
And there, of course, is Birdie. There's always Birdie, but I'm looking over these a lot more closely now.
I'm doing my best, but I'm not seeing anything particularly memorable from our long investigations.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Because it ain't clicking
Amounts
for
you
me.
can prove you donated in kind or in cash exceed specified percentages of your adjusted gross income according to IRS regulations. So that, what?
All these packages and phones and such.
Oh no, I'm reading the comment here.
Ah.
Because it is, then they can't for certain accounting for all of the cash somehow. Oh, you mean you think they're actually accounting correctly on their IRS tax forms? I mean, I don't know if many of you have looked into the accountability for some of these organizations like I have. I saw a reporter did a background on Nathan Phillips's organization, the Native Youth Alliance. It's been defunct for like 5 years. It hasn't filed any papers on what money they've taken in for such a long time. You know, they don't care about laws. Didn't you hear them earlier? They don't care about that. So let's go to the next thing that we had up there. I didn't get to go through it, but we had a lot of people tagged in that post.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Ari Hornarvar sharing Sean King.
Mm-hmm.
And, Mark Lane sharing a post, comment.
Sean King and tagging Ari.
Mm-hmm. And it's about protecting a child, okay,
Right.
from bad touch.
Ooh.
Yeah. So next we have
Yep, that's it.
6-year-old sexually abused in immigrant detention center. So we also have Ari Hornarvar with Mark Lane in this post.
With
Okay.
a trigger warning.
Yep, with a trigger warning, irreparable harm to children. Next one.
Okay.
Here we have them talking about 80 LGBTQ asylum seekers in El Jardín de las Mariposas, where I told you Pitaya Queen was with them. They were raising money for Pitaya Queen. She's the one that turned Roxana into ICE detention center where she died. So these people have the blood of at least one person on their hands, but they don't take responsibility for it. They just blame ICE. There's Mohammed El Nakib. He's also involved in this post about that LGBTQ caravan. And you can also see other people working with them. Is Birdie in there? Was Birdie in there? Scan it real quick. I don't see her this time. But she usually is. And I showed you she's definitely connected to Pitaya as well.
Mm-hmm.
Next. And so is Nicole Ramos. Mm-hmm. Next, we have Mark Lane. And he's talking about the tear gassing of refugees by CBP. And that happened, around November 20th. And again, we got Ari Hornarvar that's tagged with this. Get ready to head to the border. Who does he tag? Gina Kim, Ari Hornarvar, Jimmy Giannotti, and Brian Sanders and Fiorella Isabel. Okay. So, next, what do we got?
These asylum seekers.
Ari Hornarvar posting about the gay asylum seekers.
Mm-hmm.
Next, what do we got?
Next, we got...
Ari Hornarvar talking... Oh, we already saw this one.
Yep. Yeah, probably.
Next, what do we got?
I think we might be... Yeah, we're back at the top again.
Okay, so we're done.
So either they have comments that we didn't see for whatever reason.
No, we're good.
Or, okay, cool.
So now we need to go to Lolly B sponsoring people because one of the things she did in that video I showed you is that she wanted people, she doesn't know much about the process she wants you to know, but if you can do it, totally do it. And she's going to have somebody talking with her later that does know more about it. But anyway, you need to become a sponsor. And so she is posting about that. I needed you bring up the Lolly B sponsor.
Okie dokie. I will go find that.
And
it's just over here.
It was right after Hornarvar stuff.
It was.
And here you have Lolly B sponsor talking about, you need to be getting these, as I'm talking about the next slide already, you need to be finding my next one. This one, can you read for me, please?
Yeah.
And you go on the screen so we can see your pretty face.
Aw, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. One of our friends from Honduras went over today. His number came up after waiting here in Tijuana for 3 months. This only means he is legally starting the process of seeking asylum. He is ready to endure whatever may come next. He faces the uncertainty of potential deportation, which could lead to life or death consequences. He could be held for months in a cold derailment cell, cramped in with many other people, receiving minimal medical care and barely enough food. According to the new policy enacted this week, he also may be returned to Mexico to wait out his court process and find a way to survive here. He has a lot of enthusiasm, and although he was nervous, he looked forward to keeping others inside, inspired to continue following their dream no matter what. And he is looking for a sponsor and would make an awesome addition to anyone's home. He is humble.
What?
Yeah.
Did she just talk about him like he was a stray pet?
Yeah. Kinda. That's kind of the vibe that I got, especially earlier on.
He would make a wonderful addition to anyone's home.
Especially when they were looking for sponsors. She's like, we're looking for people who will adopt, you know. And I'm like, yeah, it just kind of had that vibe to it. So
Continue.
And let's see. He is so helpful and humble, excited and respectful.
Helpful?
Yeah, I don't like that language either.
Is he a Roomba? Is he going to mop my floors? What's going on?
I know. It just felt more like a servant type of thing. Like, you know, it felt very...
Oh, my God. Is she implying that if you get one of these, they're going to clean up your house? What the...
Yeah, I was kind of weirded out by that one just now.
That is really strange.
He loves to exercise regularly and take care of the home. See, again.
Take care of the home?
Right?
What's he going to do? Fix the roof?
If you are interested in sponsoring an asylum seeker, please reach out. If you are interested in supporting the work of my team, blah, 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 blah. Launching another fundraiser, so more money.
Of course. And who's the fundraiser under? Can you tell me? Contributions go to where?
LollyBhealing@gmail.
Oh, Lolly.
That's
But she's not a refugee.
No.
What do we got next?
Next, we have Adam
and I want you to note, folks. I want you to note, for the record, that people are still looking at you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I hope you had a good look at me.
I want you to note for the record that she stated in writing in that post that she knows that their fate could include spending months, and she acknowledges in other posts, or even a year or longer in a detention facility where it's incredibly cold, where the conditions are horrible, and she knows it, but that's where she's sending people. Also could include him getting deported or having to wait out his time to seek asylum in Mexico, which is more than likely what they're going to be doing to most of these folks. And 3, that he's going to likely be deported or possibly deported. So she acknowledges all of those things. It doesn't seem to matter. These people are still bringing all of these tens of thousands of people in these caravans with these false hopes, knowing the likelihood is very, very slim. Adam Elfer has raised money, Nemo. So you got to be looking for the next one. Good one. And what does it say? He raised money with Kei Kurimoto. Kei Kurimoto, as you know, is one of the friends with all those Hollywood stars. She's so connected. She bought the pizzas for the people that were keeping the Viento y Marea shelter open and had a face-off for 6 days with the Mexican federal police. Kei Kurimoto says, "This is amazing. Thank you to everybody that donated." And Adam says, "Wow, what do I even say right now? I'm overwhelmed with the power of hope. I am lifted by the power of love. Today, you have shown me something truly priceless. We have raised the money in less than 10 hours. This is enough to send Douglas's kids to school for the whole year. I can never explain to you how much this means. It will, I will record Douglas later today, tomorrow, blah, 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 blah. I can't talk like Adam Elfers because Adam talks like a crazy person. Like, he talks like he might think he's trying to imitate like barrio accent, like he has like like a, I don't know, gang member type of a accent to him, like he's hip even though he's from Ohio.
Oh,
But
you say Ohio, now I understand.
But also, I don't know if he realizes this, okay? When anybody that speaks Spanish is around him, he just starts talking like, I'm sorry, he sounds like a moron. I can't think of any nicer word to use. And also, it sounds really racist when he talks to people that speak Spanish or that only speak Spanish. He literally starts yelling. First of all, people are not deaf. They just speak a different language, so you don't have to yell at them. And also, he continues speaking in English, everything in English. He just adds vowels to the end of the words and tries to speak the English words with a Spanish accent for some weird, messed up reason that sounds like he's on drugs. Take a listen for yourself to the video that he posted. What nonsense. Oh my God.
Familia, hola. Live, we're live. Vivo. Douglas aquí. Hola, familia. Y live in, is anyone on there? Yeah. We're live in Mexico, Tijuana. Sí, and con mi amigo Douglas. Hola. Sí, and mi amiga Kate.
Hola.
Kate. Sí. Hey, we want to share some of our music with you. We really appreciate your support. And it's been a life-changing journey to be, building bridges with you. Yeah, hola, okay. Okay, un segundo, let me look at this. Y listo. Okay, perfecto. All right, familia. Listo. Okay, so thank you so much for your support. Grabación good. And we're down here building bridges in Mexico. We've been writing music, and many of our friends here have walked over 3,000 miles. 3,000 miles, okay, to pursue safety. Seeking asylum, left their homelands in Central America and walked a long, long way. This is one of my best of friends in the world, right here, Douglas.
Do you see the guy's face? Douglas puts his face on like this, like,
Yeah.
That's the bad kind of touch.
Yeah, it looks more like a grimace to me, like, man, I wish you wouldn't touch me, but here you are.
This is my best friend, Douglas. I was like, This is exploitation at its finest. That was some racist, comments.
Yeah, personally, I was like really uncomfortable the entire time. And on top of the fact that it was just really weird and uncomfortable, like being autistic, I probably would not have handled the half hug either at all. Like, don't touch me. Especially when it's, some stranger for the most part, most likely, versus friends or family that I might accept some sort of like half hug or even vague intimacy between friends and family. So,
but also, what was with that accent? What was with that fake?
I don't know. Just from experience, it sounded like he walked out of a high school Spanish class, really, and so he was just trying out, throwing out some words like, maybe this will do it, and then like, wait.
The only thing he knows how to say is yes, sí, and un momento, and like, he probably knows how to say yellow or pencil or something like that. But obviously, if you don't speak Spanish, don't act like a jackass and try to. It's insulting to do it like that. It's just not cool. It's so disrespectful. And okay, somebody else agrees with me. I'm not Mexican, but my what does it say? Would have smacked him for acting that way. Yeah. I'm not Mexican, but wow, so disrespectful. It's wrong of me to want to reach to the screen and smack that guy with his guitar. No, your instincts are on point right there. I'm sorry. I'm having so much fun with this new feature where I can read your comments. Spanish mixed with Italian.
And both sucked. Just be your white self. That was done so wrong.
I know. And then I'm like, why even do that? Like, you're already tokenizing this guy. And who knows if you're even going to give him the money you say you're raising for his kids to go to school back in Honduras. Like, do the Honduran people, what does it say?
I'm seriously embarrassed right now. This is worse than Rio Grande.
Oh my God. I know, right?
Yeah, I mean.
Oh God, I forgot about that. It's an epidemic with these people, isn't it? It's so gross. And I think Myron did it a little bit too. Oh my God, Doug McLean. Doug McLean. He is one of the offenders of this. Mm-hmm. And they all kind of have it. They all kind of have it. You can see how gross it is and why it's wrong, right? They can't tell. And apparently nobody's told them. One of the things that they're all up in arms in, of course, is the can you find me the Kahana Doug Keha?
Yes, I can.
Get on the next one for me. This is a post about Kahana Doug Keha. Kahana Doug Keha.
Okay. So
no,
is it?
Nope. Still not the same. What I'm saying Kahana Doug. There it is.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I see it.
It says something completely different.
You're right.
Can you read it?
Yeah, I can read it. Breaking. Take note, America. Denial of freedoms to journalists and human rights lawyers is a slippery slope. Wonderful photographer and human being Keitra Kahana, who I was lucky enough to meet at various locations in Tijuana, is one of the journalists currently being denied entry into Mexico to cover the humanitarian stories of the asylum seekers, caravans, and situations for migrants at border. We have an injunction, and we're going to court tomorrow morning to fight this illegal, unconstitutional injunction. All we say to America is, be true to what you said on paper. If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian regime or country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they hand committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read them of the freedom of assembly. That was a little bit difficult for me to read.
So who is tagged with Doug McLean? Why, it's Susie. And they're talking about a journalist, a photographer. Well, he's also talking about, the Al Otro Lado lawyers, and he's friends with Nicole Ramos, and he's spent the night on the bridge with her when they were waiting for asylum seekers, and he tags Democracy Now!
Mm-hmm.
So we know these folks are all working together, and here is Aaron Ford's post complaining about this. Could you read that one for me?
Yes. I have cried a lot this morning. My dear friend was traumatized by the fascist rule of our racist POS president. She is an amazing and tireless advocate for these seeking asylum here, a lawyer who has always been on the front lines. If you aren't aware, we just passed a law that said immigrants at the Mexican border have to stay in Mexico while awaiting their asylum hearings. So, Nora and her staff travel there so they can advise clients for free, as they can't get help here. So while en route, that was terrible, with her husband and daughter. She arrived to find her passport had been flagged, and she is now a target of this garbage regime. They separated them, and then Phillips said she was separated from her daughter and husband and escorted into a separate room in which Mexican officials peppered her with questions, including about how much money she was carrying, whether she had weapons training, and whether she had ever been arrested or convicted of a crime. Her daughter was standing just outside of the room, started crying. She was allowed to join her mother while the pair were detained for 9 hours and had to sleep on a cold floor without food or water, Phillips said. Ultimately, they were forcibly deported back to the States. There are no words for what she went through and how she's feeling right now. I note that I took one look at the picture of her in tears at the airport. Again, no words, just rage. We need people to stand up. Once Nora recovers, we know that these mother effers picked the wrong lawyer, and there will be a strong fight ahead. We will need people, boots on the ground ready, to stop these unlawful rights violations. Please spread the word and get ready to fight.
Fight?
Mm-hmm.
Well, who are they going to fight, Nemo?
I guess these mean people, asking them questions.
Well, the mean people asking them questions was the Mexican Border and Customs Authority.
Yeah, I mean, they're there to, make sure that people crossing back and forth are safe and such.
So these lawyers are going to fight the Mexican government? Excuse me?
Yeah, I mean...
Excuse me?
How does that work out?
Can you explain to me how they're going to fight the Mexican government? This doesn't make any sense.
No, it does not.
So ACLU SoCal, can you bring up al otro lado? ACLU SoCal?
Yeah, I can see if I can try.
Oh, let's do Aaron supports Nathan. I skipped that one. I skipped a bunch of things, and you just reminded me.
Yeah.
Did you know that this Aaron person, Aaron Ford, that was sitting there talking about how they picked the wrong lawyers and she was in tears. This is a horrible human rights violation, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. Turns out, coincidentally, she supports that whole Nathan is a great guy, is a hero for his people story. Mm-hmm. Because he lied about his confrontation, protecting the racist, homophobic Black Israelites from kids wearing MAGA hats. Very apparently that's the most heroic thing you can do these days. They write songs in your honor and everything. And of course she is also, oh no, that's the end of it. Mm-hmm. We have Nicole Ramos. I wanted to show you Nicole Ramos next, right? Isn't that the next thing?
According to the list here, it's Aaron Ford.
Okay, show me that post. Okay,
so
show it to me.
Let's go to that.
Let's go to that. What you got?
Well, for some reason, it's not loading properly.
You know why?
Why?
Because there's nothing there. Go to Nicole Ramos, I told you. Nicole Ramos, of course, posted the same thing because these are her colleagues that she started the organization with. And she starts off by saying, "Let the dogs bark. It's a sign that you are advancing. It's a sign that we're advancing." So she's like sour graping the fact that, things are taking a turn for the worst rather quickly for them. Let me tell you why. And she says here, "We will not be silent." She blusters. "We will not be silenced. Truth is moving. Truth is a moving train for which there is no brakes. So one can either choose to jump aboard and follow the train to its logical conclusion that the repression of human rights at the border is the product of collaboration between governments, or you can wait for the screeching halt when this train careens into the careers of those who orchestrated this debacle." She sounds like she's going after the Mexican authorities too. The careers of those who orchestrated this debacle? Who are you talking about? Because here's the thing. She's saying that, make me tiny, make me big again.
Sure.
She's saying they're going after whoever did this to these lawyers. Both of these people, all these people, they're talking about this is a human rights violation. these lawyers, these journalists, they're not allowed in Mexico. They're being deported. They're being stopped at the border. They're being kicked out. They're being detained. They're being questioned by Homeland Security. This isn't fair. But these aren't your laws. You're in someone else's country, and they can do whatever they want. If you don't like it, don't go to Mexico. It's simple. It's very simple. You don't like it, don't go to Mexico. Stay out of Mexico. Stop practicing law in a country you're not licensed to practice law in. You want to advise your client? Use a phone. How about this? Why don't you guys stop lying about your extremist activities and connections to these other groups? Why don't you also stop lying about what you're really telling these folks? Because it's dangerous. And the government in Mexico knows it. The government in the United States knows it too. And the fact that they are holding you for questioning and or deporting people trying to get into Mexico and mess up stuff for the migrants is their way of protecting their country. And they have every right to do it. You can stomp your feet and scream and throw a tantrum. That might work here in the United States for you, where you have the privilege of the laws of Americans and the connections that you have to the people and the media here. But it ain't Kansas no more, Toto. You're in Mexico now. You can't go messing with Mexicans and expect that they're not going to do anything. So, of course, here, these folks do have a lot of support. Take me to the next slide, which is... After Nicole Ramos, we had the
profile pic.
Her profile pic. Now, she posted this with her profile pic because I thought, wow, if you go to Nicole Ramos's page after all of the press and the media that she's getting, the first thing they're going to see is going to be her Facebook profile picture and her cover, which is behind that, and you're going to think, oh, let me take a look at what she looks like and click on this, which will also come with this long story that you're seeing before you.
Super long
to explain
story.
The profile pic. And then the very first thing you read about Nicole Ramos is this. Go ahead, Nemo.
Sure thing. This photo was taken by my abuser during the short 4 months that we were together. It has been almost 2 weeks since the police removed him from my home.
What? Don't you think it's a little bizarre to start, like, this is the calling card that when people come to your page, they will click on your picture to see what you look like. It's obviously the picture that you chose that you like the most of yourself or something like that. And this is what the first sentence is.
Yeah.
This photo was taken. There's no caution. There's no trigger warning, violence, disgust, abuse,
zero content warnings of any side
harassment. Just, hi, this picture was taken by my abuser. It's so bizarre.
Yeah, like, hey, without your consent, I'd like to tell you about my
Oh, these people don't care about
abuse.
consent.
No. That's a cohesive pattern that we've seen. So, removed him from my home, and he continues to message me in an attempt to taunt me, saying how much he likes that I have kept this photo as my profile photo, that he knows it is a sign I still love him, that it is proof that he saw me in a way no one else ever has or ever will, and that he is the one responsible for taking my prettiest picture. I will not take this photo down because that is his objective.
And because you're a weirdo.
And I was just like, personally, like, you know, I've had an ex before, and like,
and if your ex literally messaged you to say, I think this means you still love me, why would you tempt fate?
No, like that, because just by keeping it, you just, you know, agree to that. And, you know, personally, I would have gotten rid of everything that belonged to my ex. Like, literally everything. It might take some time or whatever, because she did say it was 2 weeks. For me, it took, like, a while as well. But, like,
I would be like,
you want to, like, get rid of, like, any remains of your bad relationship, especially if, you know, as she says, her abuser. So you have to, like,
also,
flush it out.
Why did I need to be your therapist unsolicited just because I chose to look at your profile pic? Like, nobody need all of this drama.
No.
But I want you to scroll even further down to the paragraph that talks about, by the way, this was taken of her while she was doing an interview with KPBS. KPBS, the same KPBS where Evan Duke III appeared with Lilith Sinclair and Brendan Tucker. Yes, why, yes, that KPBS. Apparently, the reporter there, Paula Guerrero, has connections to all of these people. Mark Lane, El Nakib. So that's one of the other places besides Ari Hornarvar that they can go to. That'll help them out. What else does she have to say connected to the photo about the K interview? Read it.
Yep. Later she says, this is a photo of me speaking truth to power during KPBS interview, describing the many ways in which the United States government collaborates with Mexican government to violate the rights of asylum seekers at the U.S.-Mexico border. Okay, real quick. I just got some whiplash because we just switched from the photo of my abuser to, okay, now we're talking about the U.S.-Mexico border and everything. So I was like, wait, again, with the irrelevant concepts now being connected together somehow.
This woman is a little bit cray-cray. Like, I mean, I've listened to her videos, and I'm like, I mean, in a different way than Lolly B, but no less cray-cray.
Right, just different strains.
Very different strain. A little bit louder, I think, but, you know, very out front. But definitely keep reading, because this just gets it just gets crazier.
This is a photo of a woman who came to the border 4 years ago, not knowing Spanish and with no experience in asylum law.
This is a person speaking about themselves in the third person, which is also weird.
Yeah. This is a photo of a woman who, from the seat of my federal defender chair in Alabama, could see something was very wrong and who wanted to figure out for myself how, okay, we switched from third person to first person again. How I could contribute to human rights work at the border. In the 4 years since I have been there, I have learned Spanish. Okay, we're sticking with first person now.
Suddenly, she learned Spanish in 4 years.
Well, that is a high school education, you know, how long it might take.
Well, I wouldn't say that you were proficient in Spanish after 4 years.
Probably not proficient, especially because in 4 years, most of the time one would learn Spanish from like Spain rather than specifically Mexican Spanish.
Maybe she could. Maybe she could. Maybe she was. Go on. I won't say anything more. I think she was dating. I think she was dating a Mexican.
Maybe. Let's see. In the 4 years I have. Oh, okay. In the 4 years since I have been here, I have learned Spanish. I have amassed over 100 declarations of refugees who were turned away by U.S. Customs and Border Protection. I have moved from the borrowed office of a shelter priest into a tiny storefront, and now a proper office where I have joined forces with 2 other powerful female attorneys who also wanted to change the landscape of human rights at the border.
Those are the ones that got deported out of Mexico.
Oh.
The 2 other attorneys she's talking about.
Oh, man.
Go on.
Together we have grown the organization at Al Otro Lado with no money, but we had in our savings account, and within the first year of dedicating ourselves full-time to the organization, filed a class action lawsuit against the U.S. government for its repeated rejection of asylum seekers at the U.S. port of entry.
And
I'm gonna scroll or attempt to. There we go. My abuser is wrong. Okay, now we're back again to the abuser story. My abuser is wrong. He took the picture. That much is true, but he never saw me. He only existed in my shadow, and I choose now to live in the light.
You have to scroll back down because you missed a part where she talks about in the paragraph above the one that you were reading.
Yeah.
You must have missed it.
Maybe we
somehow
did.
Because she talks about, and I was waiting to hear it, where she says, I didn't know. She said, my abuser told me that my work was insignificant,
right.
that he grew up on the border, and I was merely an interloper who understood nothing. He was just trying to tell you the truth. It says, my abuser felt small, and he began to try to make me feel as small as he did. The tactics did not work. And also in some part of this, she said, I had no experience in asylum law. Do you remember this part?
Yes.
No experience in asylum law. You decided, hey, I have no experience in asylum law. I'm going to go do that. I mean, yeah, you can gain experience maybe pretty quickly. Who knows?
Maybe.
But it's surprising. You can't just because you're a lawyer, you can't just and people should
yourself.
People should expect to get proper legal assessment from someone that has expertise in the field. Let's go to the next slide.
I will when I am unfrozen.
Are you frozen?
I am unfrozen.
How did you freeze?
I don't know how I froze. It was doing okay for a while. Okay. I am now free.
And read that.
Let's see. Doug McLean.
This is more about Keitra Katana.
Yeah. Doug McLean shared a post. Keitra Kahana, whose photographs are below, is currently being refused re-entry into Mexico to continue her humanitarian photographic work. This is presumably because the U.S. flagging her U.S. passport. So
They flagged her U.S. passport because this is published in a French magazine.
Yeah.
And she, I believe, is French from what I saw on her page. Her page is locked down. Her Facebook page is locked down. Like, she has no friends visible. Like, hardly any posts that are public. Like, no about information. Like, it's barren. Do we have her Facebook page? Yeah, that's next, isn't it? Oh, no, there's a French article too.
Yeah, there's a French article too, but
I need the French article too first.
But there's also this tweet.
Oh, yeah. We missed the SoCal, ACLU SoCal's tweet about the arrests, the Al Otro Lado arrests. Mm-hmm. And they said that it was the U.S. government that issued the security alerts. Mm-hmm. So if there's any question in your mind, those mean Mexican government officials, nah. They're working with the U.S. government. And the U.S. government put security alerts out on these two lawyer ladies that lied to Mexican border and customs enforcement. If you're a lawyer, I have a question. If you're a lawyer, right, and you're just going to Mexico to give advice, legal advice to your clients, right, which you have the right to do anywhere they live, right? Why would you need to lie to the customs people in Mexico about what you're doing there? Any answers to that?
Committing crimes.
They told border and I've shown you in print Bertie Gutierrez and several of these other people lying to customs and border enforcement in Mexico, lying to them about what their activities. And I also showed you a video in which the federal police officer said that if you're a foreigner doing any kind of work, volunteer or otherwise, paid or unpaid, if you're a photographer, a journalist, part of the press, you must wear ID. You must have it on you. You need to have a press pass, and it needs to be visible, just like those over there. Okay? It has to be visible, especially if you're in another country. And you need to identify yourself to authorities, especially if you're there in the capacity as a journalist. You got to go, hi, I'm here as a journalist. I've come here to take pictures of the caravan. Because if all of these people were telling the truth and telling the people what they're doing, including, I'm guessing, Miss Katana, then the authorities don't care. You know what one of the primary sources of income for Mexico is? Tourism. We love it when people go vacation there. We don't go, oh, are you coming here for vacationing? Get out. We're deporting you. We don't want your money. No, that's ludicrous. That's literally insane. These women were not targeted for any strange reason other than the fact that they lied. Do you know what happens to you if you lie to Homeland Security and Border and Customs Enforcement and you get stopped at the border by them, get caught lying to them? They can deport you, for one, and also they can ban you from coming in again, ever, if they want to. These people are going to go messing around with the Mexican authorities and the Border, Homeland Security and Border Patrol in the U.S. and get themselves banned from Mexico. And then when you want to go to Cancun, what are you going to do? When you want to send your girlfriends and you want to go down to Tulum or Cancun or Acapulco or Puerto Vallarta, what are you going to do when you've been banned? And all your American friends are going down to the resorts. You're going to feel silly that you did it. But Katana is French, and I think she was probably also detained, not because her passport was flagged. They want to make you believe that they were just like, they took some rando photojournalist from France and said, don't let her into the country. She's one of those subversive types. Nah, they lied to the authorities. They probably said, we're on vacation. And then it turned out, they found out you were taking pictures of the caravan. You went exclusively there for the caravan. And you didn't identify yourself as such. And that's what makes them angry. Could you please get me that article, Nemo?
Sure thing.
No, it was the next thing. I told you it was Katana's French article.
Yep, number 2. This was the art.
And number 1. I needed number 1.
We need number
Frances,
1.
Katana, Kitra, Katana, Frances. You see that right there? No. A 1 up.
Yeah,
that one.
It's on.
Okay, so these are pictures from her French article you can see there. And can I go all the way to the top so you can show me
Yeah, I can.
who
do that.
posted it?
Yeah.
Can you show me that?
We will see who posted it. It was Kitra.
It was Kitra Katana. And then, she looks like she does some pretty good photography.
Mm-hmm.
All of that is in French.
Mm-hmm.
Next is Article 2.
Yep, now Article 2.
And you can see it says, Les...
Les hommes.
I can't see the letters well enough. They're too...
They have very skinny fonts.
They have a skinny font, yeah, like a skinny jean. De l'Amérique. Les ombres. Les ombres... What does the top one say? Mexique? Yeah, Mexique. Les ombres de l'Amérique.
There you go.
The men of America. That's all it says. Makes it sound like they're from the U.S.
Oh, I think it's supposed to be like similar
Americas.
to well, there's also like this this thing that photographers do. I've seen it on Tumblr before too, like Humans of New York or
right.
Humans of this. So I think it's supposed to be the similar translation, but it would be the Humans of Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I think that is all about.
Des milliers de migrants ont marché plus de 4000 kilomètres pour rejoindre les États-Unis, arrivés à Tijuana via posé contre la frontière. Le caravan y campe depuis 2 mois dans des conditions insalubres. So they're talking about the fact that the conditions are very unhealthy in the shelter.
Mm-hmm.
It was closed because of those unhealthy conditions. It was condemned, the Benito Juarez shelter, and then later, as we learned, viento y marea.
Mm-hmm.
So then we go to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Katana's Facebook page, so you can see for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
This one says, Lobias magazine published a portfolio of my images of the migrant caravan in Tijuana from the end of 2018. Text by Fletcher Reverly, translated into French, digital ink. Link coming soon. Oh, so she is American, and this was just published in a French magazine. Got it.
Yep.
Got it. Understood.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Next, we have
the Adam Elfer's TJ video.
Yes. And I thought this was so bizarre. But here's what Adam was talking about, who Adam was talking about. He managed, I recently read that there was a group of asylum-seeking people from Russia that were in Mexico and Tijuana currently. And somehow Adam Elfers must have run into them, because here he is talking about how they asked him not to publish their pictures or, live stream him or whatever, because they're in danger in their home countries. They're here seeking asylum. How different the attitude of these Russians than the rest of the people that he's used to being with in the caravan that apparently don't have any problem being on camera. Here's that video of him.
All right. One moment.
To claim asylum, you have to be in danger for your life if you return to your home country. So I can't show their faces because yesterday,
now you can't.
when I was filming the wall, a guy came up to me and he was from Russia, and he said, "Hey man, like, listen, I'm from Russia, like, you can't record up here, because if I go back to my country, like, I'm very afraid of what could happen to me and my family. We're asylum seekers, and so they need privacy.
So how does that square with the fact that you've been showing asylum seekers this entire time? Children, women, men. You're literally using them like poverty porn to raise money for yourself and for Lolly B. And for many of these other grifters and charlatans that you work with. How does that square with that? He couldn't even look at the camera when he was saying it. And then, what the hell is wrong with this guy? Why does he keep pretending with those stupid accents?
Yeah, right now he kind of looks kind of panicked and kind of like, a little shady and shifty-eyed and kind of, trying to look out to see if there's any cameras on him aside from his own.
Right. Did anybody see me act like a jackass again? Adam, of course, is with Lolly B in Tijuana. Here they are together. And then, of course, they're... you can read that, Nemo.
Yes, I can. It goes like so. Hola. Oh, God. After Sunrise Music found video, we returned to the women and children's shelter again. We rolled up, deployed a large amount of groceries, fruits, snacks, cleaning supplies, cake, and then the gate opened. The moment Lolly and I walked in, we were swarmed with a beehive of joy. Tiny children sprang out of every crack and corner surrounding us. With no prompting, inches from my body, singing guitar all at once, they erupted into singing songs of Coco. They nailed every word, every note in Spanish. I'm sure that's exciting for you, buddy. They laughed and joked, slapping knees and crying with laughter, singing songs with us and holding Lolly's hand, petting her service dog, Wakpa, and speaking things my gringo ears could not quite comprehend. Haha. Oof.
Yeah, I want to vomit a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm going to keep going here.
This went
on for 40 minutes or so until we finally could move. We toured the shelter and asked of current needs. We donated resources to continue our support of women and children seeking asylum and safe house here, Mexico, just in case you forgot, and promised to return in a few days. What a trip! If you open your eyes and heart, you will find hope in the rarest of places. Thank you so much for your support. We continue to provide direct aid to family shelters and music in times of hardship. If you'd like to support the work of myself and team, please reach out or drop a like below. Thank you so much. With your help, we will continue to make a difference together. And build a bridge together, si se puede. So.
Then we have him here with Lolly B and Tijuana again. They're tagged together.
With Lolly B. Last night, we visited the youth shelter. We've been requested to go there for several days, but just finally made it. We brought their favorite snacks, Doritos and cola. Not the healthiest, but hey, if you're 12 to 18 waiting for asylum for months in a shelter, what would you want? Probably not that. But
Doritos and Coca-Cola. Okay, then.
Yeah. It was great to be with them. We fed them, delivered warm clothing, cold at night, shared music, and laughed at the gringo, me, pronouncing everyone's names over and over. Okay, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of Trump text speak, with where he puts things in parentheses just to remind you of certain things that are already obvious. Through it all, we continually discover we are in this together. Their resilience, walking over 3,000 miles seeking safety.
Okay, I can't listen to it anymore, please. Even when it's not in his voice, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Okay.
So let's go to the LA Times article.
Okay.
I'm going to show you this article. We can share the links to the LA Times article in the comments so you can all check it out for yourself. And could you read what it says right there in that section?
Yes. Their stories are
So
nearly
this is
identical.
about, by the way, let me just...
Yeah.
This is an article titled Immigration Lawyer Attorneys Detained in Mexico. And it's talking about the two lawyers from Al Otro Lado that were detained and questioned and sent back to the United States. Deported. They were deported. Women, these ladies from America were deported to the United States. Isn't that funny? They were crying about it. And so here is what the State Department had to say.
Okay. So their stories are nearly identical. All four report being detained by Mexican immigration authorities while trying to enter the country and eventually being turned back because the authorities said their passports had been flagged. It is unclear which government or governments, if any, might have issued the alerts.
That's a lie because, as we saw, ACLU SoCal said that it was the United States government that issued the alert, and it was the cooperation of the Mexican government that detained and questioned them. Go on.
Oh, yes. The U.S. Department has declined to comment Friday.
U.S. State Department. Don't jump words. Don't skip words.
You're right. The U.S. State Department declined to comment Friday. The Homeland Security Department and Customs and Border Protection declined to provide comment attributable to an official.
Attributable.
Thank you. The Justice Department directed the Times to Mexican officials. Representatives for the Mexican government did not respond to requests for comment. The two attorneys who were denied entry into Mexico, Nora Phillips and Erica Pinero, are leaders of Al Otro Lado, a nonprofit group based in Los Angeles and Tijuana that has been a vocal critic of the Trump administration immigration policies. In 2017, the group filed a lawsuit accusing the U.S. Customs and Border Protection
Blah,
Agency.
blah, 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 blah. Next, I want you to show me the Border Support Network featuring Phyllis Young. Yes, everybody. Phyllis Young, one of the organizers of the camp at Standing Rock, is now part of the Border Support Network. She was just added in the last few days. You can go check for yourself. And recently, Susie posted a song in there. There's a new anthem for the border wall and the caravan, by the way.
Oh.
By this guy, and I think it's called White Sheets in the White House or something like that. Get them white sheets out. And it's talking about, like Trump is a Klansman, so they got to get him out. But they also talk about the border wall. And I didn't listen to it. I'm not going to be honest, but it's by a guy named Larry Long. And I'm not going to share it here on the show. And I'm not going to show it to you because obviously it's copyrighted music. But also it's kind of that twangy kind of...
country style?
Sort of, yeah, like folksy. And I'm just not into it. Anyway, there you see Phyllis Young's comment. What did she say?
She said, awesome, hallelujah, a new time and new space, and you're still with us all. Joaquinian Oyate will guide us. Love you, Larry, long as we continue on our path to freedom for you, for me, our Tacojas, our Oyate, and our nation, and now humanity. Wopila, Lila, Techila, run for freedom.
So... she's on board with the whole fight against the border wall now. She's on board. She's putting her nose where it doesn't belong, where she has no right. But she takes the right because, that's how these folks do. Another person that's messaging to, in my opinion, that is messaging to people, making a call out to people to go to this border camp with these Antifa people to oppose the border wall is Joy Brunn. She was recently, and I thought, this is interesting because you hear them saying that they're doing nonviolent direct action. So I want to show you this video, Nemo, by Joy Brunn, where she's literally making a call out for veterans to go train in South Dakota to these free trainings where they can learn to do nonviolent direct actions. And veterans need to be trained in. So here's that video. And I was like, what?
Whoa! Now you get to hear my crackly voice. Hey everybody, it's Joy Braun with Indigenous Environmental Network. And Sheena. And Topa. And Danny. And Joe. And Morgan. So you got to see all the all-stars. Hey everybody, so we're in Eagle Butte, my hometown of Eagle Butte, South Dakota. We're at the Cheyenne River Sioux Vets right now, the Veterans Center, and there's going to be, what we're doing right now is nonviolent direct action training with veterans and with some of the local community members, especially some of the youth right now, which is really exciting. We all know that Cheyenne River is on the front lines when it comes to Keystone XL, but there's also uranium mining and gold mining and fracking dangers that are also happening in the Black Hills. Hey everybody. Hey Justina, hey Isaac, hey Juxwa, Charlotte, hey everybody, hi. So what we're doing is we're asking specifically Cheyenne River Sioux tribal veterans and Standing Rock Sioux tribal veterans, come and join us to learn a little bit more about how you can utilize your specific skill set that you learned in the military and how that translates into nonviolent direct action training. We're going to be out in Promise. Check out Cheyenne River Sioux Tribal Members page. I'll repost some of the information. There is going to be some transportation available from Eagle Butte, at the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribal Veterans Center, out to Promise for the training for the day. They're going to be leaving fairly early because breakfast starts at 9 a.m. tomorrow. So I would definitely be here about 7:30 in the morning tomorrow. But you guys are all vets. You guys are all kids. You guys know what to do. Hey, so I'm going to have Sheena.
Hey, so we need more vets to come, guys. If anybody is out there who is not doing anything for tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday, it'd be great to get a good turnout. We are trying to build those bridges together to start preparing ourselves for the Keystone XL pipeline. Get the word out there. It's gonna, it's needed. It's super needed at this point because we need to start establishing these connections, getting organized, and help each other achieve the greater goal of getting these extractive companies off of our lands. So yeah, that's my biggest request is try to get people out here. Thanks.
Hey, so I'm going to do that.
All right. Hey everyone, Joseph Juarez. Like both of them said, we're out here at the Veterans Building. Tomorrow will be at Promise at 8 in the morning. There will be 9 in the morning. There will be transportation leaving. I'm not sure where yet. Should be posted later. From here, the Veterans Building is where they'll be leaving at 8 a.m. And then, vets come out. If community members want to come, you guys are more than welcome to come. We have a lot of knowledge here. We're going to be learning a lot together. Yeah.
Hey everyone, like they said, it's open to everyone. Just come out, support. If you already know these things, it'll be a good reminder to catch up with other ones and remind yourself why you're in this work. And invite other people too so they can feel included. If you're heading out that way and you got room for 4, invite 4 people to go with you, especially the youth and mentors. We need more mentors. We need more youth mentors out there, definitely.
Okay, folks, we're going to reconvene and continue with...
Oh, hey, everybody. Love you.
So they're having a thing for nonviolent direct action training for veterans, and Louis Grassrope's son, who was part of that Native Youth Alliance, that group of youth that was with Francis Fisher that did that video with Mark Ruffalo from Standing Rock. And he's saying, y'all need to bring the youth. And she's saying, y'all need to bring the veterans. I'm confused. Is it for veterans or is it for youth?
What if it's both?
It's both. I think so. I think it's like come one, come all. Mm-hmm. But the fact that they're specifically targeting natives and youth is very interesting to me. Mm-hmm. And they also like to target the LGBTQ community in the caravan especially. But they put that out in front because they say, Like in this post from Raices LGBTQ Caravan, they say that, the LGBTQ people who are at a higher risk, they get out of the shelters easier. They get out of the shelters faster because they don't have many places for them to go. So the places get crowded quickly. They don't have a lot of places for them to be, so they are more likely, although not assuredly, to get out on bail. They're more likely to get out on bail. But this woman that you see on screen right now, or at least a little piece of her head, although Nemo took it away from me, is one of the people that did not make it. Can you read what's on the screen in the movie or the little video that
Roxana
we're not playing?
Hernandez Rodriguez was seeking asylum. She died 16 days after entering federal custody.
And Pitaya Queen helped her go and turn herself into Border and Customs Enforcement and go into the detention center. Pitaya Queen brought her all the way from Central America. Pitaya Queen helped her cross into through the Central American countries into Mexico illegally and without IDing herself and without telling anybody that she had AIDS, which would have probably disqualified her from entering the Mexico or getting asylum in the United States anyway. So Pitaya Queen, who probably knew she did have AIDS the entire time, did not disclose information that would have disqualified this woman from ever even making the trek, which ended in her death. But Pitaya Queen is not responsible for her death. Oh, no. No, Pitaya Queen, when confronted with this fact, when confronted with this death repeatedly on social media, has said it is not her fault. It is the fault of ICE. None of these people will ever take any responsibility for what happens to these refugees or these immigrants, which they wound up, lied to, filled their head with lies and misinformation, and brought here, helped fund coming here. They don't care what happens to them. They didn't care about that woman. Let me show you that post again. Nemo, could you show the post that you took down right now and tell me what it says at the top?
What it says is...
Because this video was all about, it's from Raices, which means roots, who apparently bought buses for the LGBTQ people in the caravan, this new one that we have right now, so they could go all the way to the front of the line, all the way to the border, in buses, in style, because they're more vulnerable. And they're already at the border. And it says in their post on Twitter, out today, our video on LGBTQ migrants who made a hellish trek to seek asylum. They were refused food, transport, services, etc. on the caravan up. It's exactly what they said about the old caravan that was LGBTQ. The people in the caravan are rejecting them. They're attacking them. They use the same messaging over and over again. Transgender people and queer people, even as homophobic as Central and South America is, are not social pariahs. They are openly gay in Mexico. They do have transgender people in Mexico. There's entire towns made up of transgender people. This is nonsense. This idea that they're so homophobic in Central America and Mexico that these people have to be bused to the border in underground railroad style, hiding their faces and hiding their persons all the time so that they won't be killed. It's just hogwash. Water was thrown in their faces. They were discriminated against widely. They banded together for protection. This is their story. It's just the same story. And I'm not trying to make light of what homophobia there is and the way that transgender people are more vulnerable and more likely to be attacked, both in the detention centers and just in life, and how often they go missing and nobody cares, how often they are killed and no one does anything, especially people of color that are queer and or transgender. But this story isn't completely honest. While there is discrimination in Central and South America, and while some of these people may actually be fleeing persecution by individuals or groups, the same story has been used to make it seem like priority should be given to the LGBTQ people within this caravan and any others, that you are, because they expect you not only to understand that and believe it, and if you're good progressives, to give money for it, But they know that it's going to pull at your heartstrings because the most vulnerable people usually demand the highest level of care. What would those people be? Children. They're going to make them a school on wheels. They got you. They got you. They're going to sing them songs. They're going to sing songs like Coco. Okay? What are the other people? The kids in the wheelchair. The kids with Down syndrome. Mark Lane has you. Minority Humanitarian Foundation and San Diego Rapid Response Team, Linda Star Stewart, they got you. And this, LGBTQ people, they had a hellish experience, got them all the way to the border. Watch the video, make sure you donate. We're the ones taking care of them. And the truth is, the brutal truth is they're not, Nemo. How do you feel about the exploitation of these folks, of LGBTQ people, many times by other LGBTQ Americans, not Central Americans, like Pitaya Queen?
Well, personally, I feel very disgusted that, like, I mean, obviously, if they're LGBTQ, they have other forms of oppression upon them. And they're also taking advantage of their ignorance of how the law works and whether or not they'll actually get asylum at all, or set them up so that if they fail, they've got no safety net to fall back on, and then they're just screwed over and they don't have any livelihood, and they're probably worse off there than they were simply surviving. You could be killed where you're from, but you knew how to, get out of it for the most part, or, because you know the back of your hand, your own town and in your community, and usually how to get out of those binds. I have personal rules for myself in my own town, like, not to walk outside at night, because most of the time I may be perceived as a woman because of my birth sex. And otherwise, if someone finds out I'm transgender, then that's just another reason I'm not out at night, because I identify with the masculine identity. And then, of course, if someone picks out that I'm not neurotypical, it's just like, things that, I can survive being here. And technically my life is at stake all the time. But I would not put my life in the hands of somebody else that keeps screwing up my own life worse than it was before.
Somebody is incompetent.
Yeah.
As thrill-seeking as the likes of Pitaya Queen, Evan Duke, somebody that's pulling these stunts where they're lying to the media, creating drama where there isn't none, being investigated for arson at the Caritas shelter. It's just weird, folks. It's super weird. And then they use the dead person to raise money. Oh, dear Lord. It just doesn't get any more disgusting to me than that. So, that's how you fleece the caravan and the American people. That's how it's done. These people are experts at it, folks, and you got to watch out for them because they continue to do their fraudulent and, they're continuing to work with these folks that have questionable histories and backgrounds. I'm going to be bringing you more about what's happening in the Mission, Texas camp, and I'm going to be letting you know what I think about it, my opinion, maybe Nebo's opinion. Tell us about what you thought of, on these 76 shares, Brad. Yes, thank you. Keep it coming. Keep it sharing. They're being used for these
predators to solicit funds off their vulnerability.
I'm concerned that it's even more than that. I'm concerned that they're going to traffic these people. I'm concerned that they're going to abuse these people. It already sounds like they're making these like weird hey, you'll get you can take this fine specimen, a human home and he knows how to Swiffer, and I don't like it. It's already like I am investigating other allegations about one of the organizations associated with one of these folks. And it does include allegations of human trafficking. I'm still looking into it. I'm going to be bringing you more on that later on. But keep it tuned here to Mexican Crossing Lines with your hosts, Cindy Gomez-Schempp
and Nemo Cicados.
Here on 88.1 FM, KPPPLP, Fargo-Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. Thank you for listening and watching and sharing. And join us next time. Good night.